where we have Dylan attempting to watch the UFC. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We had, as far as UFC goes, we had like one pay-per-view. It was good. And
Lost the main event, but everything else about it?
Yeah, that was disappointing. Moicano came in, got subbed instantly. It was exactly what you expect when he's facing Islam.
But yes, we were having fun with old-timey news voices, and I was trying to play along, but I wasn't as good as Aaron. But who could be as good as Aaron? Trying to do old-timey news.
Perfect though. He had everything was perfect like 5 minutes ago. Like he had
it was the voice, the cadence, the delivery,
the grainy audio. It's like Diamond Comics in disarray. Will the giant go under? How will it affect the comic industry? What will people do? Everyone is asking the question. Where do we go from here? You've got Diamond Comics collapsing. You've got Marvel releasing another Dazzler book for some reason. DC doing more Fire and Ice by their fart fetishist writer, Joanne Sterer.
If only you still sounded like you were in a tiny box, it would be perfect.
Yes.
I know, right? Like I saw that.
Yeah, you had like the perfect audio earlier for that.
We are in a mood, folks. We might be having a good time here. And I do want to say welcome very much to Matt Moylan, the main guy at UDON Entertainment. You currently have a Final Fight comic book coming out. What's going on there, Matt?
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's one of the things we're doing. I'm writing the Final Fight series myself, and just based on the original game, but adding some context with what we know that they crossed over with Street Fighter later, and they have more games later. So a more detailed retelling of the original game.
Add a little bit of lore to it.
Yeah. Like stuff like we know that Mayor Mike Hagar, who's a wrestler turned mayor, is he becomes friends at some point with a police officer named Lucia, which in one of the later games. So we're like, let's have them meet like during this first game a little bit, and that'll set it up for later. But that kind of stuff.
Very nice. So you've been at UDON for a while. You've even employed the man underneath me, Aaron Sparrow. What was that like? And you can tell us just how bad it was, even though he's here. He was awful.
We just put his name on the book for. Yes. I really did all the work for that. No, it was great. I asked Aaron to write a short jury story in one of the Street Fighter comics, and he's like, "That's my favorite Street Fighter character." Awesome. I'll do it. But
I've seen the action figures. He's got many of them.
Yeah, and there's a great now see, I say Yuri because isn't that
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. But nobody says that, and who's white.
Okay, I guess I've just been around enough Koreans that I
yeah. But it really is. That's correct. I've been at UDON for this will be my 19th year. And it's also the company's 25th anniversary this year. So a long time to be at one company. And before that, I was at Dreamwave Productions before they went under. So I know something about bankruptcies.
So we're in the middle of one. We've got this Diamond stuff that's kind of kicked off, and it's what everyone was talking about for the past couple of weeks. I know UDON, I believe they had an exclusive agreement with Diamond. Like, how is this going to end up affecting the smaller publishers like y'all?
Yeah, we distribute our comics and our books through Diamond. And I've worked with Diamond even before that at Dreamwave. But and just to keep things in perspective, UDON, like, yes, you guys probably know UDON, the guys that make the Street Fighter comics, but comics is kind of the smallest thing that we do, like floppy comic books, because we also do manga and we do art books and we do creative services. But we'll always do some comics. That's how we started out. But it's been a crazy 2 weeks. Just figuring out. I mean, nobody really knows what to do right now because we're stuck. We're owed a bunch of money, like everybody is, and I mean, I think we're like every publisher right now, where we've absolutely talked to every other distributor out there to see what all the options are. So we don't know what we're going to do yet. We're waiting for the Diamond their next hearing It was originally at the end of March, where, as I understand it, it's a hearing for them to present to the bankruptcy court. Okay, we're gonna sell this part of the company, and we're gonna repay these guys first, and we're gonna reorganize internally, and then the bankruptcy court will say like, okay, go ahead with that, or they'll say, no, your plan's terrible. Go right into Chapter 7 right now. Sell it for whatever you can, But that hearing got moved up to February 6th from the end of March. So, and I as I understand, it's at Diamond's request to have it done sooner. So we're all trying to figure out what that means. Oh, does that mean they think their plan is great, so they want it to go really quick, or they don't think their plan is great, and so like, let's get this over with and stop losing money? So we don't really know what.
If I had to hazard a guess, I would say that it's probably they're like, hey, if we don't show some progress soon, all of these vendors are going to leave, and then we're not going to have any income coming in, because we're not going to be able to deliver anything to shops. So if nobody's sending us any product to ship out, we're done.
There's certainly that. There's also maybe they want to get these sales happening, and they don't want to leave them too long in case they might fall apart. Selling the different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Chapter 11, they want to reorganize, restructure, be able to pay off their creditors to a degree, and then become a functioning entity again. But in order for them to restructure, they're selling off the tabletop gaming stuff. They're selling off the European distribution. It sounds like they want to sell off the action figure portion of all that and just be comic book distribution. And without any publishers, you basically don't have a business. And they've kind of ruined their reputation at the moment. I imagine there are a lot of people in circumstances like UDON where you're sitting there with your hands out like, I don't even know what to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we're prepared. I mean, we prepared ourselves thanks to the pandemic, where things got pretty bad there. I mean, we weren't in danger of going under, but we used a lot of our cash reserves to get through that closed Diamond period. We're lucky that UDON is a company with only one owner and no debt at all, and no investors or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, right now, like you've probably all seen the list of like how much every company's owed, because they have to make that public. A lot of them are low what people are actually owed, because they had to make that a few weeks before like the news came out. So that's why a bunch of them, if you see, I don't know if you've seen the actual document, but all the creditors, most of them say like disputed, which just means we're not exactly sure how much we owe. It might be more than this. But some of them are quite high. Like, I think Random House is like almost $10 million.
Yes. Several toy companies are well over $1 million. I think Lunar was at 500,000.
Yeah, and everybody's different too, because everybody has a different deal. So we have different pay structures. So like some of those people are owed like maybe like 3 months of back pay, and some are owed like 2 weeks. So.
Can you imagine being Penguin Random House about to eat $10 million from Diamond when you already spent $30 on buying Boom?
Well, and you're already distributing Marvel, and you're paying them to have distributed Marvel poorly, essentially, in the end. So what did you think when Diamond just kind of unilaterally tried to shut down the American comic book industry? I could see it in the moment. I was on here on the channel be like, this is an enormous mistake. First of all, people could go under for this, but I think they're breaking their contracts. And obviously DC went out there and created competition, and Marvel created more competition going out there and creating other distributors. But in my opinion, I do think Steve Jeppy and Diamond distributors ended up being their own worst enemy, making a decision like that without really consulting the rest of the industry.
Yeah, well, there's certainly places they couldn't distribute, but not everywhere. So it was like, yeah, they certainly didn't tell us either. Like, this is what our plan is. But it was, I mean, at the same time, they didn't have a lot of money coming in. So maybe they just figured our operation can't operate at half distribution, like it's we need to shut it all down or shut some of it down. I mean, I don't know their full reasoning, but I know at the same time there was a lot of retailers that at that time Diamond was kind of loose with getting payments from retailers. Like, they kind of let a lot of people slide, and then that just compounded things when there was no money coming
They've
in.
certainly given out loans and stuff in the past to retailers that were struggling, end up having to pay it back. I think most famously, Chuck Brzezinski ended up having to sell off one of his warehouses to pay off his loan to Diamond at one point.
Yeah, but I can't say exactly what I would have done if I was them, because I don't know what was coming in. But I mean, in this case right now, I don't know. Or like all the publishers are certainly upset, because I mean, it's not like when I was at Dreamwave and they went bankrupt, the reason was a little different. It's that Dreamwave, they owe people money, like artists and licensors and stuff, and they made a product planning to get money to pay back, to pay for all their costs, and the product didn't sell enough to make their costs, and they eventually went bankrupt. So, and that happened several times and compounded. But with Diamond, it's like you're kind of our middleman to ship our stuff and invoice our partners like bookstores and comic shops, and you're just supposed to take a chunk off of our money and give us the rest. So you've been taking more than your chunk, I guess, for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of retailers had that reaction when they started changing the way that they were charging for shipping. They're like, are you seriously saying that you were taking a piece of the shipping cost and adding that on and taking it for yourself? It kind of appeared that might have been what they were doing at comic book shops there for a while.
That I can't say specifically. I mean, we have our own website, and our shipping fees, they include other stuff, but it's related to shipping. Like they include the fees for our warehousing and
Process
like that. It's all, yeah, that's all built into our shipping cost, but we're not trying to make a profit off of the shipping part. I mean, we're trying to make a profit off of the sale price.
Mm-hmm.
So with UDON, and you said you're looking at other potential options for distribution, I'm hearing behind the scenes, and I don't have this confirmed, maybe you could confirm it for me, that it doesn't sound like Penguin Random House is looking for smaller publishers to partner with them. They might not be an option. Maybe Lunar is, but they might not have the infrastructure. Are you finding that there's a lot of options, or are the options limited?
We definitely have options. I mean, UDON is bigger than most people know, because like I said before, comics is the smallest thing we do. Video game art books are more than half of our income, and mangas something like 35%, something like that. So comics is only like 15%, and even that, only 3.5% comes from the direct market of our comics. Like, sorry, it's a quarter of our comic sales, but it's 3.5% of our total income.
Does the most of the rest of that, is it more like the bookstore market, the main
Oh, I'm not even including graphic novels.
Okay.
That's floppies. So half of our floppy income comes from our own website, and a quarter comes from retailer exclusives, shipping to them.
Yeah, I know a lot of comic book retailers that have gone specifically into being more like exclusive comic book cover retail shops, where they were like, most of the interest right now is the collectability. A lot of it is the cover, and they're just looking for opportunities. A lot of times with smaller publishers, because with DC or Marvel, you might have to order like over, I think the number was it 6,000? It's a large number that you have to order just to be able to do the exclusive. I know with the smaller publishers.
We only do 1,000, and you can do a couple. You can do a couple covers if you want, but in that 1,000. Yeah. But yeah, it's and it's a different market. It's not. It doesn't, at least for us. I mean, I'm sure there's investors, but it's not really an investor market. It's more of a collector market of people who actually do want them. And it's kind of, I actually saw a guy, this Magic the Gathering channel talking about this, and it applies to comics. And he's saying like, you need this triangle of customers and in his case, it's players and collectors and investors.
Yeah.
And they all have a part to play. But they are different. They're all looking for different things. And so in comics, it'd be readers and collectors and investors. But yeah, like I was on a Purchase show recently and saying how it's kind of like, I use the example of in that Futurama episode where in the future, at the art gallery, all the artwork is painted on the fat guys' bellies, and they're just like, that's where people want their art. They want it on fat guys' bellies these days. And there's a group of people, like a large group of people, that just want their art on a comic book. They don't want it on a print or in an art book. They just want it on a comic book.
It feels more substantial.
Yeah. We were kind of joking. We need to do an April Fool's where the comic is blank and we just sell covers.
That's what Bad Idea did. Didn't
Oh,
they?
really?
They did that, and I think they had a glass comic book. We know that was Valiant that had the glass cover.
I have an Alpha Flight where like half the panels are blank for a snowstorm issue, so we should do that.
So is there anything else we need to get the word out as far as UDON? Like you said, you're doing Final Fight. You've written the first 3 issues.
The first 3 issues are out. Three issues are out. The last issue, we're hoping it's going to be out at the end of February. And before that, on February 19th, we have Street Fighter Prime #0, which is the first issue of our year-long story arc with a new villain group created just for the comics called Vortex. And Prime #0 is just kind of a bunch of mystery box vignettes setting up all the different comics that are coming out.
I am a complete sucker for a 0 issue. You might got me there. Seriously, I don't know what it is.
I did some research several years ago and figured, 0 issues sell about the same as issue 2, so we should be doing 0 issues as much as we can.
When I was at Boom, they sold about as well as issue 1, so all of a sudden Boom decided to do 0 issues, but they pulled the rug out from out from under all of us. So like Jesse Snyder had written a great issue 1 for Toy Story, and Boom's like, it's issue 0 now, and it totally doesn't work. This is in issue 0, and then you buy issue 1, and it's actually issue 2. And it's like, what is going on here? Because
they can do
like, if I would have known, I would have written a 0 issue.
Yeah, they can certainly do well. I mean, this issue, the orders are better than any comic book we did last year, and they're really close to selling as much as our swimsuit special. So they might actually eclipse that. The swimsuit special is our best seller of the year, and that's in a floppy shape.
Is it because of Tim Lim? I know you got him a lot of times on those swimsuit issues.
Yeah, he's doing something for an issue coming up even. Tim's been doing them for a long time. But if we get a few reorders, it might even eclipse our swimsuit issue from last year. So we'll see.
So Matt, I will give you this piece of advice. If you really want to get Sully, do interior variants, and then you charge $10 for the interior variants because he wants to see a little bit extra color. That's
and you put it in a bag
Yeah,
that obscures the cover.
Boys, I've got a red band.
Well, we'll just do that for the fights. If it's like two Street Fighter characters fighting, a different one wins. There's a fan years ago so we did like one of the early Udon issues is there's a Cammy versus Chun-Li bonus story drawn by Adam Warren, and basically Cammy wins. Like Cammy kicks her butt and kidnaps her dad, and some fan was so upset with that they commissioned Adam to draw an alternate version where Chun-Li wins.
Exactly. That's how you get Sully to shell out $10 for the exact same comic book again. It's got to be in a bag. And some people may have noticed we've got a little ticker going because today's live stream is actually being sponsored. Definitely need to give these guys a shout out. Did I get it? I think I got it right this time, fellas. This doesn't always happen.
It's up on the screen.
Beautiful. Special thanks to Blame Canada Publishing for sponsoring today's live stream. Get ready for a game-changing comic experience as Blame Canada Publishing proudly presents Aftermath. What happens when ordinary people are suddenly gifted with extraordinary abilities? Hope rises, but so does chaos. From flight and mind raiding to super strength, powers meant to uplift humanity instead reveal the dark truths of our desires when reality becomes your worst nightmare. Will anyone emerge unscathed? Created by Spencer Voikin, penned by Dolan Waddick, a.k.a. Drew, brought to life with stunning pencils by Andre Lunatic and precise inks from Shelby Robertson, vibrant colors from Dan Kemp, and expertly edited by the one and only Aaron Sparrow. Aftermath is more than a comic. It's a story about the price of power and its shocking consequences. There we go. I did the page turn. The Aftermath Preview Edition is available now in limited quantities. Head over to Comic Kingdom Creative to snag your copy before it's gone. And that is not all. Meet Dolan, Aaron, and Spencer in person at MegaCon 2025 where the series will officially launch. Get your exclusive autographed copies and be part of the Aftermath phenomenon. Very cool,
Now-
Aaron. What can you tell us about Aftermath?
Well, I can tell you that you should have read that in an old-timey voice, is what I can tell you.
I'll let you do it next time. I'm sorry, dude.
I
I totally
Do
screwed
your
that up.
own copy.
I will send you
It's
the promo
Aftermath,
next time
coming
if
from
you can do
Blame Canada Publishing. So yeah, Drew decided that he's not writing enough comic books, so he got together with Spencer and they put together this pitch, and Drew pitched it to me, and he said, "It doesn't sound like something you would want to edit," and I said, "Absolutely, I love working with Drew, love working on his stuff, and it's got some of the most gorgeous art of any book that he's ever worked on." It's absolutely fantastic. The story is a lot of fun. It's really crazy, and we're having a good time with it. And yeah, I just went through and I did my polish on it, and we're going to be finishing it up. But yeah, they've got the 8-page preview out, and I hope everybody checks it out because it is damn cool.
Did I hear
Now,
one of
Matt,
the creators'
do you take
name?
the Blame
sorry.
Canada thing personally?
No.
Okay, good.
I just wanted to ask: did I hear one of the creators named Andre Lunatic?
Yes,
That's
yes,
a
you
good
did.
name.
That's an
Andre
awesome name.
Lunatic. I don't know if it's his birth name, but it is a good name.
It may be.
I can
Actually,
imagine it as a '90s like signature, like lunatic exclamation point.
Right? I toyed with creating a pen name of Aaron Psychopath, but I decided to
Mr.
stick with my regular
Yeah,
name.
Mr. Joshua. It's not my name.
Oh,
It's a
Mr.
good
Joshua.
name.
You know what?
So,
It's funny that you mentioned that, Sully, because to this day, when playing any kind of combat game, and I have a sniper rifle, I always say, "Come on, Cottontail, stick your head out."
so Sperry, you're going to be at MegaCon with Drew and the crew from Blame Canada Press?
That looks like the plan. I'm super excited because of course, Gary and Neurotic will be there. Critical Drinker will be there. So we're all gonna have a big get together, I think, and have a good time.
Very nice. So you're going to sign your autograph as Aaron Psychopath, or
That's what I'm gonna do.
We're
yeah.
gonna try it
And
out?
as I
Try it
as
out
I
for
talk
one
to
issue?
people in an old timey voice. Hey, thanks for buying this comic, kid.
I'm Aaron Psychopath, the #1 comic writer in the Southwest.
That's right. As long as you're in between these two towns.
Is there anything else people need to know about what's going on here, Aaron?
I mean, just check it out. I think that the concept speaks for itself. I think that the art speaks for itself. If you guys enjoy Drew's commentary and you've read anything by Drew before, I think you're going to love it. And also, like Drew is so freaking prolific. I can't even keep up with him. He'll send me pages for stuff, and he'll be like, "Hey, check these out," and I'll be like, "Which project is this for?" I'm like, I don't even know which one this is, because he's involved with so much stuff. So yeah, it's like I just finished up my edits on Holy Nightmare #3, and that's where it gets super crazy. Like, I'm so excited for people to see that issue, because when you're doing a book, of course you got to do your couple issues, your first issue of setup, and you got to kind of like establish everything, and then the second one kind of has a very okay, you got to build on that, and then the third one's where you can really go crazy, and that's what happens in Unholy Nightmare. So that's looking really good from TCM Press, and then this from Blame Canada. I believe Spencer, the creator, I believe he's Canadian, so I think that's why he went with that. This is
Very
the fault
nice.
of
So,
Canada.
Hopefully, Drew reimburses you for your expenses to go up to the Northwest and find a cabin so you could catch up on all your work editing his books.
I did. I actually edited some of his books while I was up there. I've got to turn in something else today that I was working on for somebody else, and I got to draft out like the next several volumes of Kneel Before Doomface. So it was a good trip.
Nice.
Very nice. We've also got Dylan, aka the Real Comic Book Gamer himself. How's everything going up in your neck of the woods, Dylan?
Going good right now. Things are having a good time.
Things are popping off.
Yeah.
What do you think about this week's Superman?
I thought it was pretty good. I think with this current arc that Williams is doing, he's hit a new stride. He's doing good, because I feel like his books.
I think
his
the Dan
Superman
Mora
book
art is lifting it substantially.
definitely helps, but I also feel like this arc, like story wise, has been much better as well. The more art definitely
Better
doesn't
than
hurt.
Farm and Graph, certainly.
But,
whatever that
yeah.
was.
Because I really liked Jamal Campbell on the art, but the story
Mhm.
was like up and down a lot. There's not a lot of consistency, but this I've actually liked it, and I wasn't really looking forward to Lois the Superwoman, but so far it's been pretty good. And I like what we're getting. We got callbacks to Superman Hunt Through Prey, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Very nice. Anything else going on the channel that people need to know about, or is your life pretty boring right now?
I just did a video on the whole Summer of Superman thing before we just got the new news about Jorge Jimenez coming back. So that's not in the video, but I did a video talking about all that with Dan Slott having a book and the Summer of Superman. So check that out.
I also have a Summer of Superman video coming tomorrow, but definitely check out Dylan's perspective first, because he's going to be right on the money. He's the enormous Superman fan, and he's always streaming games and stuff like that as well. We've also got Sully fully moved into the new apartment.
And actually, one more trip tomorrow morning.
One more trip, folks, and then Sully will be finished moving.
Never leave a man behind. I can't leave my plants behind. I got this like one plant that's been in my life for like 18 years, and I got them split in 2 pots. It's Robert and Bobby Jr. Get it? Robert Plant. That's my plant's name. So yeah, I can't leave my plants behind. Some kitchen stuff, odds and ends, and then I'm done. I'm all moved in. Yay! How's everyone this week? Good to see everyone out there in the chat too.
Man, I'm getting excited for these football playoffs, but I know you're not really into the sports, Paul.
No, I got something better than that. I got the quote of the week. It's from my friend Wes, and Sully is as sus as fuck. I loved it. Dude, you made my week, man. I was watching Wes's video. And I'm like, dude, you're on fire.
Said there's nobody in the Think Critical family that like any of this crap other than maybe Sully, because he's sus as hell.
That's great, man, because you're right. Because, like, you know, I mean, I'm going to come at, like, Amazing Spider-Man, giving it, like, the fairest of chances I can give a crappy book.
A bad comic book.
Yeah, this week wasn't that good. I mean, it had everything to do with the art. Such as you were saying with Dan Moore's art is completely elevating Joshua Williamson's Superman right now, which is pretty decent. I bought it this week. It's on my pull list. I mean, the art totally dragged down ASM this week. And I've been rooting for 8 deaths to work.
No Gleb Melnikov in it. It definitely felt it.
Or Ed McGuinness, or even who was it? The guy with the acronym.
It was Kafu last week.
Yeah, Kafu. Yeah, so that was good, but yeah,
it happens.
It happens. Yeah, I mean, I like Scarlet Witch #8 better than ASM this week. Wow,
weird.
How's about that? Weird. He's weird. He's sus. I bring the sus.
We've also got the Doc of the house. How you doing, Doc? You feeling all right?
I am spectacular, man.
You never sit in the background and listen to everybody talk, but you're doing that today. It makes me think that you're doing something sketchy.
No, I'm just sitting here letting everybody.
You're creeping is what you're doing, and it's freaking me out, dude.
Well, I'm also kind of organizing some stuff in my office, and so I'm kind of doing both.
Multitasking.
Yeah, multitasking. I'm letting you. I mean, look, I don't have a lot to add on that. I wanna let Matt, sing the praises of what UDON's doing. I want to let Aaron, pimp some books. I want to let Dylan talk about Superman, and I want to let Sully be sus.
No Gabe, no Jim. So I got the sus covered.
Dylan, explain to Sully why he's sus.
Please.
So no, I'm just hanging out. I cleaned out some spare space in here, kind of got rid of some extraneous crap, and reorganizing a room. So it's I'll add stuff when I need to.
Very nice. We'll be talking about Marvel in the not too distant future, but we do need to give some shout outs to the Patreon backers. Definitely want to say thank you very much to Kevin Stewart, the Huntsmaster himself, for joining the Think Critical family, the protector of Stalkhaven. If you would also like your own superhero name, be part of the family, get your own city protect, there is a link in the video description to the Patreon. Also, thank you very much to Hyper Tool Games, aka the Silent Viper himself, the protector of Shadow Fang City. I love the name of that one. And then finally, Brad Bowman, welcome to the family, the Bell Ringer, protector of Brawler Heights. As I mentioned, there's a link in the video description, not only to the Patreon, but also if you would like a preview edition of the stuff that Drew is doing, or if you're interested in what Matt is doing over on his websites as well. We got links to everybody in there, and really appreciate this, guys. We couldn't do it without you. Let's hear for the people. Adam Frey, go Philadelphia Eagles. If they don't win, Jim from Weird Science will cry. He absolutely will. He'll probably cry anyway. His life's not great.
Well, I mean, he'll hurt
We're
himself. He'll
rooting
hurt
for
himself real bad somehow.
Yeah, we're rooting for the Chiefs here. Who are you rooting for, Dylan?
I don't really care, but I want a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. That's what I want.
What about a Commanders Chiefs Super Bowl? Is that one whet your appetite?
No, it would be funny to watch Jane Daniels spank Mahomes, but no.
I just want the two Indian teams to fight.
Yes.
So,
And I want to see, comes to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden the Commanders come out in their Redskins gear.
That
yeah.
would be sick. That would be sick.
And then I want somebody to immediately go up to Elizabeth Warren and going, "Oh man, this must be tough for you. Who are you rooting for in this one?"
Right out of Mighty Ducks.
They're both technically one of 1,024th your people.
it'd be like Hogan when he came out in the black or the red and gold.
Yeah, when he
after
came
being
out in
NWO for 5 years.
exactly him coming back out in red and yellow. Yeah, you'll get the same thing, and it would also be red and yellow.
And they could come out to "I am a Native American."
Exactly. And we'd be doing the YMCA thing and being all confused. Galb says, quote from Friday Night Tights, people who love life and love being alive write good stories. But then there's Tom King.
Yeah. He does not love life or being alive.
He does love his mommy, though.
Oh, geez.
Loves mommy very
He's
much.
a depressive writer.
Too much.
But I'm sure there are people that love life and being alive that are terrible with stories.
I mean,
I can't think
sure.
of anybody off the top of my head, but
Sure, but I
gotta
mean,
be
but people that are enthusiastic tend to do good.
I think it's more.
When you
of
find
a-
good work, it's from people that are. Although I don't know, sometimes like I used to find it really a lot easier to write when I was angry.
Well, it's more of a theorem than
Gotta
a
be in the zone.
postulate.
yeah.
It only works one direction rather than both ways. If you love life, you can be a good writer, but good writers don't hate life.
Jagra 2 for the Patreon. We need a special review in April. Doc and Jim reviewing Fire and Ice Cold Day on Hell number 1. That is a gift that keeps on giving. So I can guarantee you that Jim and I will definitely review Fire and Ice Cold Day and Hell number 1 on the Hot or Not podcast. And then Doc and I will also review Fire and Ice Cold Day and Hell number 1 for the worst of the week. And it'll be up here on YouTube. So it's guaranteed that's going to happen. There's no way I could let Doc slide on something that terrible.
The only way would be if somehow someone made something more cringe-inducing and terrible than what we know we're going to get in Fire and Ice.
And
The only
it's
chance of that
impossible.
happening is if Dazzler comes out the same week.
Yeah, exactly. If that
Well,
Dazzler book
we
comes
do a
out the
double
same
feature.
week, yeah.
I like that the subtitle though is the same day that I would spend money on this.
Boom.
I read the news about this book. It's the Fire and Ice book. It sounds like something a kid would come up with. Like, oh, they switch powers.
Yeah, that's a
They're
lot
not
of
even-
he's doing
That's
now.
the cleverness level of Joanna Sterer. That's
Yeah, this is the
why.
fart fetishist writer. So
It's not like they're the Fantastic Four and they have a common power origin. Their powers aren't even related. They're like one of them has like natural kind of magic powers, and one of them has some accident. Science fire had some sort of energy accident or something like that, if I remember.
Well, Matt, when you've only skimmed the Wikipedia of the characters to write the book, none of that matters.
I would just suggest reading Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville if you want to know just how bad this is going to be. That was rough. Gallup says, sometimes I wonder if working under Feige is like a salt mine scene in Pinocchio, only he's nice to everyone as they redo everything over and over. Maybe.
I think
He
that
probably is nice to everybody.
I think that it's kind of similar, except for all the the worker drones, as long as they meet certain demographic traits, can yell at him too.
Here's the
Probably.
thing about Feige is he's one of those people who like the smile never reaches his eyes. Like he just looks empty in every picture you see. Like it's just this 1,000-yard stare. It almost looks, every picture of him almost looks like he's going, "Oh God, please kill me. Please kill
In
me."
fairness, though, I mean that kind of happens to like most people that live in Hollywood for that long.
Well, that's true. They are all hollow
It hollows their soul out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
And in some
when they're,
cases,
at the top.
yeah.
And now
some
look
cases,
where he's at.
like the cast of Wicked, it hollows out their bodies too.
Oh my goodness. Matthew Ladbetter wants to know, Aaron, would you write Superman?
At current DC, I mean, well, number one, I'd never be offered the book. So,
Well, let's presume that you were offered a short story for Superman. Would you want to write a Superman character?
absolutely, I love Superman. I'd write Superman in a heartbeat. I have written some DC characters. You know, I did my episode of Young Justice. I worked on that arc, the Apocalypse arc. And there is the spec script that I did for Justice League, a continuation of Justice League Unlimited, of which there are like 5 fully produced pages out there. So Superman wasn't in that, but yeah, no, I'd love to write Superman. It was I love the DC heroes. I love a more simplified, stripped down version of them, which is why I pitched Justice League Unlimited from the cartoon universe. I didn't pitch anything in universe, but yeah, absolutely.
Man, if I got to write Superman, I would. Even though I love Superman, and I truly do, I would write him to spite Dylan. I'm like, Dylan's going to hate this story. I'm just doing it for him.
Wow, thanks.
I would write it like I'd be like,
petty.
if I could just get Dylan on board. If Dylan is the only one that enjoys this, I'm screwed. I need way more people to like this than just Dylan. I need to have a broader audience. You don't write for one person. That's what current DC does. Current Marvel does.
Lerd says, I love Udon.
Right on.
We got some fans.
As well, you should.
So have you guys always focused primarily on the video game characters, in the comic book universe, or is that you found that to be like the most lucrative licenses available out there?
Yeah, well, it starts. So Udon started as a creative services company working mostly for Marvel, and when the nostalgia boom was happening in the early 2000s, like Transformers and He-Man comics and G.I. Joe comics, so Eric Koh wanted to do Street Fighter, and he pitched it to Marvel. Like, you guys should get Street Fighter, and we should do Street Fighter versus X-Men, just like the video game. And
Bam!
At
would
that
be amazing.
Yeah, but at that time, Marvel said like, no, Street Fighter's kind of dead. Plus, we're Marvel. We don't license things in. We license things out. Is what their thought was at that time. So Eric, with the help of a licensing guy, Mark Mosman, they went to Japan and got the license direct from Capcom. And originally it was published under Image. Like Udon was
like an imprint.
Yeah, it was an Image imprint, and then we were under Devil's Due for a little bit, and then became a full publisher. But yeah, Udon's mainly focused comic wise on video game stuff, pretty much just Capcom stuff like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, Final Fight. We have Mega Man coming up, and done a few other things like we did a Exalted comic series, which is like an RPG series, like a tabletop RPG series, and a few other things. Done a few original graphic novels. Casa Nostra is about gangsters in Chicago in the 30s, kind of at the end of the gangster era. And we've done we have a graphic novel series called Random Views about interdimensional package delivery service. So some weird stuff like that, but mostly we stick to video games. And it just all ties together because we do a lot of video game manga. We do some original manga too, and we do video game art books, and almost everything we do has kind of a Japan bent to it as well. So that's kind of our niche.
Matt, can I pitch you on a Dino Crisis series?
We might get there. There's somebody doing a Dino Crisis spiritual successor, but I don't know. There might be some SBI detected or something similar in there. I don't know.
No.
It's a little. Well, they've said they are not. I know they've said it's not Capcom. This is like some independent company just doing a spiritual sequel. But they've said they are not releasing the game on Steam, like for PC, because they don't want any lewd mods to happen.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, no, I think they're not releasing it on Steam because they don't want to be on that Steam list of SBI detected. They want to try to fly under the radar, fool everybody. Yeah. I can't wait to hear Velociraptors talk about their pronouns.
Great X7. Marvel needs a semi-reboot and selectively retcon, ignore, and never mention again any past stories that have damaged the characters, no matter how popular or critically acclaimed those stories are. So, Matt, as somebody that's in the business that manages some of these comic book properties, are you pro Marvel reboot? Do you think now is the time? Should they do a selective reboot where they grab a few things that haven't worked and wipe them out of existence? Or do you think it's probably smart to just continue on the path they started, 65 years ago.
Well, let me first caveat that we've worked with Marvel for 25 years and we still work with them today. So consider that. But my answer is no, even though I don't really read the Marvel comics anymore because they're not for me, certainly. But don't do a reboot. That's just giving up. And that's you might think it's a jumping on point, but it's a huge jumping off point too. No, do the work and fix it. Just get the characters back to how they are. And you can do some of it easily if you really don't want. You don't have to do a giant, if you want to change the status quo back to something or something, you don't have to do an epic 12-part miniseries to explain everything. Some things can be hand waved away, and if people say like, oh, we want to hear that story, okay, then you can do that story later. But you can just, oh, that was a crazy time in Krakoa when we were all cloned by plants. And I'm glad we all got out of those pods.
We discovered the real X-Men that were buried underneath Krakoa the whole time. These guys were imposters.
All the fucking pod people.
I laid out, on Twitter this week, someone asked me the question, if I took over Marvel, what would I do? And it wouldn't be a reboot. I would just do a hard reset to a specific point in time. And certain elements that have happened since then, I would allow into continuity, but it would be like on a case-by-case basis. And some characters you would take a little further back. Like, you restore Peter's marriage. You go back to One More Day and you undo that. You give fans what they want, not what like Nick Lowe is doing, or what Tom Brevoort is doing, or what CB Spolsky is doing, where it's like, if we make the fans mad, they stay engaged. What makes people stay engaged even more is when they like what you're doing. So that's what I would go back to, is I just do a hard reset back to the end of Secret Wars, everything that happened since then. It did happen, but it happened in a pocket universe that is destroyed in the big cataclysmic storyline that we're going to tell to explain all this stuff away.
Well, it's also the thing that's always said is like, oh, continuity's become too dense and these characters have too much history and nobody can get into it. And like, no, not a one of us here started reading DC Comics with Action Comics #1 or started reading Marvel with Marvel Comics #1. Like that was the coolness when I jumped in. Like my first X-Men issue was X-Men #10, like the 90s series. And it says right on the cover, it's like the return of Longshot. And I'm like, I didn't know who Longshot is. I don't know who the X-Men are, but it looked cool.
But hell yeah.
and it was cool. And after I read it and it was fun, and I bought number 11 and 12 and 13,
and then you
went back and found 1 through 9, right?
I did. Yeah, I have. I now have a complete collection of 90s X-Men, like 90s X books. But
congratulations.
But yeah,
no, I met a cosplayer at WonderCon, and she was telling me like she got X-Men #1 by Jim Lee, and she was like, she liked Rogue. She thought Rogue was pretty. It's like she was a little girl. She thought Rogue was pretty. She thought Rogue was cool. And she was like, I want to know everything about Rogue. So she started buying back issues. And that's how she got into X-Men, is because there was a history to go back to that excited her. And that's what excited me when I got into comics. So I think you're right, Matt. Like you don't need everything spoon-fed to you, and only from this #1 will I go forward.
So. Yeah, and it's if you write it well, you can. All you really need to do is get the characters right, and you can sneak in all the little history as it becomes relevant. Like Cyclops has a brother, neat. Wolverine has history with ninjas. Okay, cool.
Also, they don't have editors anymore who know enough about the properties that they're working on to put in the little editor's notes, like see issue, blah, blah, blah. That used to be like the thing. It's like you would get that, like, a character would make a reference, then the editor would put see issue this, and I'd be like, well, I got to put that on my list. I got to go find that at the comic shop next week.
Yeah, at some point I'm sure there's still this kind of person, but that string of like, oh, I was inspired by the previous creators, and then these creators were inspired by them. At some point, it kind of got broken or something. Like everybody in the 90s was trying to top, their 80s heroes, and everybody in the 80s was trying to top their 70s heroes. And I don't feel like a lot of creators have that respect for the previous generation anymore. They're just, I want to put my mark on and make this my version of Superman or Lobo or whatever.
I want to get a Netflix deal. So what can I, what kind of activism can I put in here?
Caleb wants to know, like Mark Waid, should Mark Hamill get committed?
Like to each other?
No, I think he's talking about like a mental facility. Was Mark Waid committed? I have no idea. Maybe.
Oh, no, I think he's saying that Mark Waid should be committed.
No, he's saying like Mark Waid, because this happened to him. Should Mark Hamill get committed? He's
I don't recall Mark Waid getting committed. But
Maybe
probably should have.
Maybe like Mark Waid is a statement because it's a period, not a comma.
Maybe they both should be committed. I have no idea.
I think they should be in a committed relationship to each other. I think that they both need love. And if they just discovered love, maybe they'd be happier people.
I think they should make a commitment to get the fuck off of the internet.
Well, everybody
that's
should.
true. Some people
Social
cannot
media
handle
is
social media.
Dangerous. Aaron, while you were up in the mountains, did you do any forest mushrooms and knock out that 4-issue Senior Spider miniseries? I need to know.
I did not do any mushrooms. I didn't find any mushrooms. I didn't even see a lot of cool wildlife. Like, it was kind of a bummer. I was like, where I haven't seen a bear. I haven't seen a moose. What's going on here? I did see some deer.
Did you see Senor Spider?
I did not see Senor Spider, but I have written a little bit about Senor Spider, trying to figure out exactly where he would fit in and how to make him as funny as possible.
Very nice. You should go back and watch old like Looney Tunes with Speedy.
Yeah, and Slowpoke.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I'm thinking, his cousin.
He needs a sombrero. I'm just putting that out there.
No, he has a sombrero and he has the the bandolier. You know, what are they like the Frito Bandito?
Yeah,
I'm using the Frito Bandito for inspiration for you guys old enough to remember that.
Very nice. Retro Man, how does Dan Moore do what he does? He's a gift. I imagine he's referring to the fact that Dan Moore can do 2 ongoing books a month and still be one of the 2 or 3 best artists at Marvel or DC.
Work ethic.
Some people are just fast and good, and often it has to do with line efficiency.
Yeah, a crack line of colorists.
Yeah, I mean, look, some people are fast. They know how to make the most of their time at the drawing board. I mean, more power to them. Like it's an amazing accomplishment. You've only had a few of those people. You had like Bagley, John Romita Jr., Kirby,
You're okay,
Not
Doc.
Gary
I think
Frank.
that's enough examples.
Yeah.
I think he did good.
He's absolutely fantastic. You know, he's doing Justice League Unlimited. He's doing Superman right now. And he's
I
absolutely
wish
awesome.
they'd pair him up with Jeremy Adams.
For
They
some
should.
reason, I
That'd be
blanked,
cool.
but I was thinking John Byrne.
There
Byrne
we
was
go.
another guy that could do 2 a month.
You should be blanking on John Byrne, Doc.
I know. I don't know why I did.
Yeah.
I miss
Kind
more
of
on
embarrassing.
Shazam.
Well, remember what Heidi McDonald said? Nobody under 30 wants to see John Byrne on a book. And then Max was like, I do.
Dylan wants to see John Byrne on Superman. He'd love it.
I
What do you want to
love-
action comics?
But see, here's the thing: we have Dylan as our youth correspondent to tell us what the young
Yes.
people want, But what we should really have is Heidi McDonald, because a 65-year-old woman really has her finger on the pulse of the youth.
Yes.
Absolutely. Gallup, if they do reboot, who are you left with to write this stuff other than gender studies short bus people and Karens who call themselves writers? Well, Hickman is still, I would say, a list.
Hopefully
They certainly
Jeremy-
are over-reliant on Jed McKay right now, but he's proven on one series that he can keep things going.
I'd like to see Jeremy Adams take a crack at the Marvel Universe.
Why do we want Jeremy Adams at Marvel? He's doing great at DC.
I mean, just to spread the
Why do
love,
we have to
spread the talent?
Bring DC down to elevate Marvel. Maybe they can find their own Jeremy Adams.
Maybe he knows somebody. He knows a few young people that,
Dylan, you're a
he
DC
mentor.
guy. You want to see Jeremy Adams on freaking Iron Man? I don't.
No, I think he's good at DC right now.
Exactly, he's perfect.
He talked on was it Millercast, Mark Millar, that he doesn't really have any
Uh-huh,
desire to
Millercast.
go to Marvel right now.
Oh,
so
man.
yeah.
Who can
Yeah.
save? Who can
we asked
save
about
Amazing
that. He's like, I'm
Spider-Man?
good with DC. So
There's some great
Yeah.
indie writers out there if they want to discover talent. Ryan Parrott's out there. Tony Fleeks is out there. You know, there are plenty of people waiting to be discovered and get that big opportunity, but they don't have a lot of primetime writers right now. Maybe
Well, I mean,
Brian Hill will
you-
want to be full time. I'm not sure.
No, I mean, you've got a lot of good writers out there, but do they pass the rigorous political tests that Marvel puts?
Hopefully that's not.
That Marvel's editors puts their people through.
Hopefully we're removing those constraints on writers and opportunities. We shall see. Time of reviews. Comics Aficionados. Aaron, are you getting the reissue of Chipper Typer token?
Triptychon.
Triptychon. And G1 no clear plastic. I also picked up Severed, Plot Holes, Zdarsky's Daredevil Volume 2 Omnibus, pre-ordered Nascenti's Daredevil Volume 1 Omnibus. Are you getting Triptychon?
I have the other Triptychon, and what I've seen of the new one doesn't really inspire me to buy him again. I don't know that I need two Triptychons. But once I see it, you never know, and things tend to come my way at fairly good prices that I can't say no to. So it is a definite possibility. It's not one that I'm like super hyped for. I'll tell you what I am hyped for though, is I am hyped for that and the Nascenti Daredevil volume.
You know what else? They got the Authority Omnibus coming out 2025 edition, Doc. If you need to pick that up.
No, I don't. I already have Absolute Authority Volume 1 and 2. So I don't have to pick up anything.
You're so much better than all of us. Absolute Hush being
I have Absolute
as well.
Hush already on my bookshelf.
But it's the 2025 edition, Doc. You don't have
yay, because there's going to be, what, no new pages?
A new dust cover. Always some new art on it. He also says he picked up Agent Knight from Knight Rider Transformers figure, and I caught up on Feral and started reading the new Reboot Witchblade series. Ooh. So that would be Marguerite Bennett on Witchblade. I read the first issue; it was fine, but it was.
How is that? I mean, is it as because they tried a Witchblade reboot a number of years ago, probably like 6-7 years ago, and it was all current year. With I think they even made Witchblade ugly and also fully covered, like literally neck to ankle. Is this one any better?
Is it Sarah Pazzini or is it another character again?
It's a new character that's the Witchblade.
Oh,
she's like I think she's a police officer. Might have that wrong though, because I read the first 2 issues like 7 months ago.
I don't know. People want Sarah. Make a Sarah Pazzini. Yeah. Bring Sarah. Bring in the Darkness. Bring in the Angelus. Bring the original guys back.
Yeah. Nerd says, why don't you guys ever review any of the Marvel and DC games and have discussions about the stories as compared to the comic books? So here's the problem. I don't have a new gaming console. I have a PlayStation 3 just so I can play like college football and Madden, because those are my favorite versions of the game. I don't really play any of the modern DC or Marvel games. If you want that, we do have an amazing panelist named The Real Comic Book Gamer. That would be Dylan. You do reviews like that, right?
Yeah, when there's a game that interests me, I cover games.
Well, but it only has to interest you. You didn't do like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League?
No, I played that the day it came out for like an hour or two, and then I uninstalled it and didn't touch it again.
So you wasted like $80?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dude.
I feel you, man. I bought AEW Fight Forever.
I figured the game was going to be awful, but I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Let's see. And then it was just terrible. It was so
do you
bad.
review the storylines in comparison to the comic books, or are you just reviewing the gameplay, or are you just doing playthroughs? What can they expect?
I do all of it. I don't really compare it to the comics because they're not really adaptions ever. So, like, I'll compare how the characters are, but not like the storylines are almost never.
They've never done like a Batman: The Long Halloween, the video game.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's not really a point in doing that. But yeah, I've done reviews for the games. Like I've reviewed Arkham Knight when that came out, like freaking 11 years ago, 10 years ago. So yeah, do that sometimes. But we've got some interesting games hopefully coming soon. We've got that. We got that like World War II, like Captain America, Black Panther game, which could be interesting. The Wonder Woman game I'm excited about because the same guys that made those Lord of the Rings games like years back are making that. So that should be really good. I'm excited for that. But who knows when that's coming out, because we got like a CG reveal trailer like years ago, and that's it. No gameplay yet, but that should be cool.
And are you actually doing the streaming still on Twitch and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll do streams on Twitch. Yeah, like more game streams on Twitch. No, it's just whenever I show up. Right? Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Have you tried
subscribe to his Twitch? See what happens.
Have you tried Marvel Rivals, Dylan?
No, because I hate Overwatch, so I have no desire for. I know people love Rivals, but
I love the designs. It's just it's not the type of game I want to play either.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We finally have a comic book game in the zeitgeist, and it's an Overwatch clone.
And it's Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's done more for Marvel than, you're seeing more artists draw on those Marvel Rivals characters. It's done more for Marvel's profile than anything CB Cebulski has done in his tenure there.
Hey, but
Anything
it's
that the
not
movies
done
have
more
done
for
last
Marvel
years.
artists because they're not paying them for reusing their
Yeah.
art to promote their game.
I thought that was Snap.
That was
I thought, yeah.
It was Snap. Okay, you're right.
Mhm.
They're paying these people, or are these new designs based on the?
These are
comic
new
book?
designs. Yeah, these
I
are new
think they're-
designs based on the comic.
Yeah, and I think they commissioned all the art.
Yeah.
So
They have an
it's a
amazing
good thing.
squirrel girl that people love.
Shocking
All
if you
you-
make Squirrel Girl not look
Shocking.
stupid with buck teeth. People kind of like her.
Oh,
and
Yeah.
and look like
She's-
like me.
She's a very
Uh,
thick, curvy squirrel girl.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Kind of like Captain Planet from Jay Lee.
as long
I
as
mean, she kind of looks like the voice actress that was supposed to pay her or to play her. She's busty. She's
Yeah.
instead of
she's
looking
cute.
like Erica Henderson, the one that
Mhm.
drew her.
Nerd that says, I've always wanted to know your opinions on these stories that I think are right for comic adaptations, which would help the comics immensely. Now, obviously, Matt, you have more experience on that. Do you think it's smart to go into video games that have been popular and try to mine them for stories? Because we do get a lot of comic book adaptations in DC and Marvel. We get 2 or 3 a year where they're adding stuff to the story, or maybe it's a prequel and stuff like that. Do you think they should be taking some of those more popular storylines from video games like, Arkham Knight and stuff, and maybe incorporating them into the actual canon?
I mean, it could be cool. I mean, I don't know for sure. They must have done some Arkham comics at some point, like
They've
based
done
on the
some
game,
tie-ins, yeah.
but not in the main universe.
Obviously,
I've
I did
always-
Justice video game.
Like I've always
But-
thought, we're always talking about like how do you get people who say watch the Marvel movies to read the comics, because it's not a 1-to-1 like when you watch an anime. Oh, I'm gonna go buy volume 1 of the manga and it's different, but it's generally the same story. I was thinking they should make a line of comics set in the Marvel universe. That doesn't have to be the same stories as the movies, but just take the characters from the movies and make a story. Like make an Iron Man
Make that
miniseries.
history.
Well, actually,
I'm just saying, like, take doing an Iron Man adventure that involves what's his name, Jebediah Stone, is that his name?
Obadiah Stane.
Obadiah Stane. Obadiah Stane. Just do a story with them and something like that, and then do a second one where he, meets Whiplash, fights Whiplash, and just do some comics that, like, when people come into the store saying, "I watched this movie," oh, go check out these books right here, even though they're not gonna,
They tried doing that actually. The original Avengers World, that
Mhm.
title from the all new the Marvel Now era, was supposed to be set in the comic universe, or I'm sorry, in the movie universe. And then the second writer that ended up on the book, I think it was Kelly Sue, fucked it up
Yeah.
and started doing references to shit happening in the comics. And the editor being an incompetent buffoon, and also that it was Kelly Sue, and apparently you're not allowed to tell her no.
Like I'm saying, do
Yeah,
actually
they
set.
fucked it up.
My thought is do set these comics into 616. Just use the characters that are and make an Iron Man 1 comic, and just use the 616 versions of the characters that are in that movie, and do something like a one shot or a miniseries for every movie. And then it's set in the 616, and people can expand to learn more. You don't have to, like, I'm not saying adapt the movie stories, just use the same characters so there's something you can point people to.
DC did a bit of a thing with where they brought in the Arkham Knight during Tomasi's run on Detective.
Mhm.
Remember, he made the Arkham Knight an
Yes.
actual character. It was completely different in the games, because in the game it's Jason Todd as Arkham Knight. And this, I can't remember, some lady, I can't remember who she was. But yeah, they did like an Arkham Knight storyline in the actual main Detective comics when Tomasi was on it.
So, Matt, I know that you're going to have to be vacating somewhat soon here. We do have a couple of questions specifically for you. Kalichioki says he would love a Resident Evil manga from Udon.
There is a Resident Evil manga. I think it was for maybe the 5th game. So we could look at that at some point. Resident Evil hasn't been a big seller for us. I mean, we've done art books for Resident Evil, and I don't know. Sometimes the big properties are not the ones that you expect that will do well. Like some of the niche properties are the ones that do really well for us. Like the Okami is our best-selling art book, and that had just had one video game for PS2. You know, like so I think
But it has a fervent fan base.
yeah. It's the kind of thing where like, oh, we don't get anything for this property, so everybody who's a fan of the game is going to buy an art book or a manga or something. But Resident it's working with Capcom is it's not just like asking Capcom, can we license this? I know a lot of Japanese game companies are like this, but every video game property has a producer who's in charge of it, and they get to okay everything, like license things. They get to okay if their characters cross over into another game, and if they say no, I don't think that's right for my game, like I don't think that's right for Resident Evil right now, they won't let it happen. So we have to convince the current producer.
And Caleb says, I love the second game. You know, there's a light gun called Dino Stalker. It's a sequel to Dino Crisis 2.
Yes. It's the real sequel.
This is the Aaron thing. You want Dino Stalker, Aaron? Or do you want Dino Crisis 2?
I want to do a Dino Crisis comic book is what I want to do. I want to write a Dino Crisis comic book. I want to tell the story the way that the Matt is so masterfully doing in with Final Fight, which is an absolutely great book. If you guys aren't checking it out, go check it out. It's got gorgeous art by Matthew Weldon. And
yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so scared like Marvel's going to steal him from us or something. Because he's so good.
Maybe Mark Miller.
Fantastic.
Matt Weldon is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He goes up like he it's perfect for Final Fight because he draws like knocked over trash cans and like a rat running around and like cracks in the walls, everything. He goes all out.
No, you can hear the music when you're reading it. It's like as I was reading the book, Matt, I was like in my head, I'm like, you know, like just the whole thing. And then there's like action scenes where I'm like, I can hear Hagar going, you know, like all the sound effects from the game and everything. It's so ingrained in my mind.
Dion says DC went to crap during the President Luthor era. Is that true, Dylan?
No, there's a lot of cool stuff during the President Luthor era. That's when we got Public Enemies, which was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff during that storyline, or during that whole era.
We're getting President Luthor in this Superman movie, right? That's the rumor.
I don't know.
No,
We'll
I
see.
don't think
It's
so.
supposed to be.
I wonder if it'll be an allegory for anything.
No,
Yeah.
maybe
There's
that
no
other
way.
guy from Canada. But yeah, obviously everybody has their own favorite eras. I mean, I know Jim, a good friend of the channel, his favorite DC era is New 52.
Yeah, but he's strange. He's weird. It says
That
in
was
his
when he
name.
started reading
Weird.
comic books.
Yeah.
He came in on DC for New 52.
Oh yeah.
And
That's when
so
That's when I stopped.
Funny, a lot of every time we bring up a New 52, we get rather nostalgic for it, and we start pointing out the best stuff.
the Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade. I'm like, oh yeah.
The Swamp
What about
Thing.
Superman?
Yeah,
All-Star West.
Wraith X7, not every past story should or needs to be canon, which is why I say some past stories should be retconned and made non-canon. I get that, but you can easily just forget about stuff and never mention it again and act like it never happened. People
Unless
forget, right?
unless it's a story that killed a character and you're just bringing that character back, I think then you should at least
you
reference
gotta
it.
acknowledge it and write yourself out.
Yeah, and even if you just write it and be like, man, that was a weird dream I had. I had a dream a couple years ago that you fucking died. Like,
yeah.
there, the end.
You
know,
give Peter
even if
Parker a mohawk for like 6 issues, and the next artist comes in and goes, "Hey, this is a terrible idea. How about we just not give him a mohawk and act like it never happened?" And you're like, "Okay, he's got no mohawk now. I think it works."
Sure. I think Tony Stark has gotten shrapnel in his chest in like 3 or 4 different wars. You know, he can you can shift things and change, and it's okay.
You can also play around with like depending on which character is telling the story, like how they perceive it. We did flashbacks in Darkwing where we showed that when Darkwing thinks of something, he's tall and Launchpad is short.
Or you know, I've had writers tell me like, oh, when I brought up something. It was on Transformers, remember? I brought up something like, "Oh, this doesn't make sense," like because this happened in a previous issue, and he's like, "No, that was just from this guy's perspective. It didn't really happen. Like that's what the guy thought happened." Like I've heard that excuse. It's
Like, I'll even take that one. Like, it's
I'm
fine.
just gonna ignore it. Jagrod says Sully upgraded. Now he's a hot toy collector like me. Are you a
Yes.
hot toy guy, Sully?
Just a little bit.
Hot toys are like $250 a pop, dude. What are you doing?
I got like
How much soup are you selling?
America. It's cold day, hot soup. Come on, it's like it's been under It's been under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, the metric system is a commie plot. We
Correct.
all know this.
Same with soccer.
No.
I only got two. I got Han and Carbonite, and I got Captain America from Endgame. He's holding Mjolnir.
My question for you:
Mhm.
How does one play with Han in Carbonite?
It's display purposes only, God.
Then they just get a statue instead of a toy.
Exactly. It's a nice statue. It's
It's an action figure of a non-mobile unit. What do you want?
It didn't come with a Han that you can remove from the back, like the
You can't
original
eject
figure?
him.
The Hot Toys Boba Fett Empire Strikes Back has been out of print for like a couple of years now, or else there would be a Boba Fett standing right next to that thing. You know, what I mean?
You want one?
One of these days when I can afford it.
Probably $350.
Let's talk later.
Because I'm sitting here going, I'm pretty sure Han in Carbonite would be an in-action figure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
That's
like
why he makes like the greatest freaking phone case.
Yes,
It's like the Professor Xavier that you would take out of the wheelchair and he would fall over because they intentionally made his legs not work.
yes.
It only makes sense.
Didn't they
Savi
in one
says-
of the new Star Wars make it that like all bounty hunters use carbonite or something like that, even though it's supposed to just be
Yeah.
like it's just like they were
It
there.
was their
Kinda,
testing.
Too, and in Clone Wars, there was an episode of Clone Wars where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and a clone unit, they put themselves in carbonite to hide their bio, readings or something. And I was like, so that was some kind of retcon where Anakin Vader got the idea to put Luke in carbonite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
They
they got to go
also
back
had
and
a
they got to
thing where-
explain everything.
Fucking
What a man.
Padme was putting herself in carbonite. It was awful.
Mhm.
I hate it.
Well, it's like poetry, Wes. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
Diamond Review says the new issue of Witchblade has Jackie returning. So obviously I did not read that one.
Okay,
If the
cool.
newest one does. But looks like she's coming back.
Does he give his unsolicited opinions on Israel?
Ooh.
It is by Marguerite Bennett.
Okay.
No,
I like that. I like
only-
that Jackie drinks milk. He doesn't drink alcohol. He says I like me, something like I like me being me or something like that.
I mean, like with time moving forward, like who are the Bajorans now and who are the Cardassians? You know what I mean?
Jagrod 2, the biggest fail to me in Ultimate Line Year 1 was Black Panther 12, Final Battle versus Moon Knight. Beaten in one punch, hey, ignore this guy. And the first year don't matter. And I dropped off of Black Panther, I think, after 5 issues, maybe 6. And I haven't come back yet. So I didn't get there. But Sully probably did.
I like it. I think it's more consistent than Ultimate Spider-Man. It's got fight scenes. It's got court intrigue. It's it's competent. It's just a superhero funny book. And
Competent.
I appreciate it.
High
Yeah, it's
praise.
competent. Yeah, I mean, I get a
Stefano
lot of-
Caselli is a personal favorite artist of mine, but it was just exactly like the other Black Panther. There was nothing really interesting about it.
It does the job. I mean, I'm not buying it. I'm buying Ultimate Spider-Man. It's still on my pull list. I got it, so there's that.
They
But
said
you
year
need to be
one-
reading the Ultimates, Jagran, and then you will see the biggest fail.
Oh, they said year 1, and I went back to was there a Black Panther 25 years ago in Ultimate?
No, he's-
Universe?
He's talking about Ultimate Universe 2.0.
yeah.
The Brian Edward Hill Stefano Caselli book. Must have hit 12 issues this month. I didn't see it personally. Mr. DC Comics, instead of reboots and multiverses from Marvel and DC, how about we see new or lower tier characters in the forefront, an all-star team on creative? That's the thing. How do you create new characters and how do you get them over? I think within the last 30 years, the way that you get a new character over is to have the right creator on them and attach their name to the character, like a Rob Liefeld. You could do like a sexy release, seemed like Punchline was going to be a big deal there for a minute because she had a very unique look to her, but I don't know. What's the last major character at Marvel or DC to actually make any impact? Matt, can you even think of it? Is it Miles?
Miles, I guess. Before that,
It's 20 years.
I mean, X-23. That's not even a comic character originally. Before that, Deadpool, maybe.
Yeah, it's Rob Liefeld could do Deadpool and Cable.
It's
And they
they
can get
want to
notoriety.
they're going too fast. They like, and they decide that this character is going to be the next big thing before they've even ended up in the comics. So they're like,
The whole
okay,
Kamala
they
Khan thing.
need a number one. They need this. Like, no, just introduce new characters in the comics in Spider-Man or in X-Men. And when one's big, okay, let's bring them back and see if people still like them. Okay, then maybe in a couple years they get their own series. Like Deadpool took quite a while to get going. I mean, he had several years of appearances, then a couple miniseries, and it was many years before he had an ongoing series.
Joe Kelly finally got
Yeah.
him to really work. Yeah.
Yeah, because Joe Kelly actually made the character make sense, and he
The
fleshed
Joe
out
Kelly
the-
version is perfect, where he's not fourth wall breaking. He's just genre savvy,
Mhm.
which is excellent.
Yeah. But they definitely, you would hope that they could create some new characters or elevate some of these lower tier characters, but it takes time and effort and a lot of times good creative. And do you want to put your one or two good creatives on a character that maybe isn't a mainline big time seller, and in the hopes that in 18 months he's elevated the character to where their mainstream status? It's risk reward type stuff. I just don't think they have enough talent to do that right now to even put them on stuff that isn't headliners.
Plus, it's always, I mean, it's been always this way, but it's always gotten worse. Any good creator who's like, I've got an amazing idea for whatever Woodman, but they're like, oh, but I'm going to save that until I get do my own indie comic. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Mike,
I've got to jump off, guys.
I thank you so much for joining us, Matt. We'll definitely have you back. I know you've got to go do some stuff with the kids. I feel it. I got 3 kids on my own, but it was awesome having you here. And is there anything else that you need to tell the people before you walk away about UDON Entertainment, all the stuff that's going on, or anything you're working on personally?
Well, I'll tell you one more big project we got coming is bringing back the Mega Man comics, and they are launching with a 0 issue for Free Comic Book Day, and then we will be doing it's basically a monthly series. It's 5 one-shots starting in May of 5 different eras of Mega Man, and if you read just one, you can, if you just want to read the Mega Man X one, you'll get a fun Mega Man X story. But if you read them all, there's some through elements that connect them all. So check that out. Check Mega Man out starting in May.
Very nice.
do it.
We definitely appreciate it, brother. You have a good
Cool.
day.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, later, Matt.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
You too.
Cheers, man.
He's
Awesome.
a pretty good guy. I kind of like him.
That was cool.
No, I love Matt. He's always been super cool.
Yeah, we should have had him on before. What were you thinking?
You know?
Oh my goodness. If he'll come
All right.
back.
Aaron, Mike says Kneel Before Doomface is the first book purchased in 5 years. Thanks.
Wow, no, thank you.
You brought him
That's,
back, dude.
That's amazing. What a compliment. We're gonna deliver for you. It's killing me because Renzo and Oscar keep turning in pages and they look great, and I want to show them off, and I'm like, oh no, that page has a reveal.
You're gonna
That
spoil
That
everything.
page has a reveal. Yeah, I can't spoil everything, so it's like I'm really limited in what I can show anymore, and it's kind of killing me. But we're on track to deliver the book in spring like we planned. Everything's going really well, so hopefully I won't have to wait too much longer till I get that in your hands, and you can tell me what you think.
Nerd says for Marvel, What If or What I Do is a dream reboot. Mike, make it a company-wide event. Use Paul. Make his consistent depiction canon.
Ooh. Make Paul.
How do you do that, Aaron? How do you make the fact that Paul has looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger? He's looked like James Tynan. He's looked like he might be non-binary at certain points. How do you make that all into canon on how you reset the Marvel universe?
I'd make Paul an amalgamation of Beyonders toying with the universe. So everything that happened after Secret Wars, after Battle World, after God Emperor Doom has been a pocket universe that Paul has been controlling. And the heroes start to wake up to the fact that a lot of this stuff isn't real. Their lives have been toyed with. And then you have the big event that resets continuity and gets rid of all the trash that's come after come after Secret Wars. And kind of retroactively goes back because you can say like they were manipulating, things. So I would totally retcon Mephisto, and One More Day. I would make that a Beyonder. I would make that Paul.
Mhm.
Paul is a Beyonder who fell in love with Mary Jane and has been manipulating events to, you do something like that where you explain away all of the stupid things. You come in like Jeff Johns with Green Lantern, where, Rebirth, where he looked at everything that people had done with Hal Jordan, and he said, wow, they fundamentally broke Hal Jordan. How do I fix it and absolve Hal Jordan of all of these things that they made him do? And that's what you do. And you can do it with Beyonders, and you could tell a pretty compelling story, and then reset a simpler, more easy to understand universe that doesn't have all of the activism of the last several years, doesn't have all of the stupid, sexuality swaps. By the way, under my regime, Bobby would be straight like he is supposed to be. Iceman would go back, we would go back, all those retcons would be gone. Everybody would revert to their default settings, and we would, in their default sexualities, and we would move forward and make the company strong again.
I like what they did with Beast. You know what I mean? Jerry Duggan did a good thing with Beast, reverting him back to his 80s Defenders version. That's like my favorite Hank McCoy, like the Avengers Hank McCoy and the Defenders Hank McCoy. I like Beast. He's a likable character, and making him unlikable was like one of the worst decisions ever. Well,
they've made every character unlikable.
In a way,
that's the problem.
Sure.
Peter Parker's unlikable right now.
I agree.
All of the X-Men
All
are
right.
unlikable. Any character written by Gail Simone becomes unlikable because their dialogue is by Gail Simone.
Absolutely. Hopefully, Aaron sold that. I had to go pee. I'm sorry, folks.
I know. As soon as I saw you go off screen, I was like, "Oh, Wes expects me to give a much longer answer than I had planned."
I needed to take care of business. Kalichioki, I'm so sorry about this. I did not see this particular super chat when Matt was still here. I went back and looked, but this must have come in afterward. So Matt Ulan, could you also try contacting Sega to do a Streets of Rage, Yakuza, or maybe even Bayonetta manga?
Ooh, who has Sega as a property, like the Sonic comics, right? Who's doing Sonic?
Sonic is IDW, but I imagine they don't have like the Sega license. I bet you they just have the Sonic license. I think Sonic might be their number one like character outside of TMNT now.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the quality of the Sega comics. I'm just talking about the fact that it's in the hands of IDW.
But yeah, it could very well be. I guess IDW could actually have the Sega license and then might not be available. But I will get this out to Matt, and I'm so sorry. I hope you could forgive me for that one. I did try to look back, but I obviously missed that when Matt was still here. Callum, can I get involved, Aaron? If you get that, I can draw dinosaurs.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we were talking in the chat about who has the rights to Thundar the Barbarian and how much I would love to do a Thundar the Barbarian book. So I assume that's the one that you're talking about. Who does have the rights to?
I thought isn't there a Thundar coming out from Dynamite soon?
Is there? Oh no,
Captain Planet.
Yeah,
you're
Captain
hung
Planet.
up on that Captain Planet thing. You're right though. He looks terrible. He looks like Metamorpho. I mean, that's no.
Did Matt have
He can
to
draw
leave?
dinosaurs. Does he need to keep in touch, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to do any licensed comics or to get any licenses, but if something like that fell in my lap, I would certainly consider it.
You wouldn't go buy the Thundar the Barbarian license so that you and Callum could work together in tandem?
Oh hell yeah, I'd buy absolutely. I just don't know who has it, and I don't know what that would cost.
He's going to have to do the research, folks.
You'd have to look
Aaron's
into it.
on the case. Time reviews.
But
Aaron.
now that I've mentioned it, Dynamite will snap it up like they did, Darkwing and Gargoyles.
Aaron, what do you think is the next Transformers HasLab, since you will be at MegaCon where it will get announced?
I have no idea. Once you've done Unicron, I don't know what the next obvious thing is.
The next obvious thing is Starscream His Tank.
Once they've seen Carl Hungus, how do you keep him on the farm? I know, Aaron.
No, I mean you could do like like a Starscream Sky Striker. That'd be cool. But like that's what they should do. Is they should do a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover where they do a G.I. Joe classified scale Starscream that transforms into the Sky Striker, and then they have the mold, and they can do they could just do the regular Sky Striker, and then they can offer you Thundercracker and Skywarp and Ramjet and Dirge. That's the way that they should be thinking of these things and kind of like tooling. The problem is with the HasLabs is eventually we're all going to run out of room.
Yeah. My question, I want them to start haslabbing the classified series vehicles. Like
They've done
more
a
of them.
couple. Yeah, they've done the Dragonfly. They've done the Hiss Tank.
I'm
And
waiting
then they're
for
offering some of the Jeeps.
I'm waiting for the
Rattler.
well, no,
the
like
the
the
Pterodon?
USS flag. The flag
Dude.
for 6-inch. And maybe the
You wouldn't
Defiant
fit
and
that in your
the
living room.
I know the Defiant and like the whole thing for the launch mobile
How would they
launch
even
platform.
How would they even ship you a 30-foot
It'd be like a
USS flag?
It'd be
You
like
know,
it'd come in a crate.
It would come in unassembled. Robert Meyer Burnett has a Starship Andromeda from Star Blazers, like being imported to him every couple of months from Japan, and it's going to be as big as his garage. And I'm looking forward to that.
I'd look at it like whenever
Alright.
I was getting the lift for my car lift for my garage. Just keep bringing it in.
Baja Cat. Realism killed comics, wanting them to be like the real world. These characters exist in a fantastic world we wish we could live in. Kirby himself even once said that when you mirror reality, you end up seeing things backwards.
Well, not only that, but I feel like this was something that happened in, you had Vertigo that kind of tried taking more realistic. You had obviously the Marvel World Outside Your Window thing that Stan would talk about. And honestly, I could say that the negative consequences, the Wildstorm universe, because they started moving things in real time and they went to a more realistic universe, the Ultimate Universe, the first path around, the Ultimates, for as great as it was, Mark Miller was doing it and he was like, Tony Stark would need an entire fucking launch team to get the Iron Man suit on. And it does. It kills it. You also started seeing it with people complaining about the lack of anatomy in art. Like when you got the first initial like pushbacks towards people like Liefeld. And then you got the "where are her organs" crowd. And that doesn't look, real people aren't shaped like that. I'm like, you're the same people that like Michael Avon Oeming. Real people aren't fucking triangles either. But apparently that was acceptable.
Yep, this is the Tom Taylor problem. That's where like if you saw a billionaire in real life doing what Dick Grayson is doing at night, you'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. But as a comic book, it's so boring. I don't care about him donating his money or putting his money towards the stuff. Spend it on a super insane car so he can get to crime faster. Do something cool.
Exactly.
Like I don't care about him.
Why didn't you build a portal?
Yeah.
Realism
anywhere.
Works for news headlines and sound bites and like 30-second stories on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or whatever. It doesn't work for fucking graphic storytelling. It becomes art house cinema. Do you know what art house cinema does? It does $15,000 at an art house.
Yeah, it's definitely boring. And then they keep incorporating the real world events more and more. I think 9/11 obviously is one that galvanized. Everyone had to have a 9/11 issue, and now we're getting fucking COVID in there, and we'll be getting some Trump fucking stuff in the not too distant future.
Well, you had the entire comic
Trump
industry.
Modoc?
You had the entire comic book industry doing celebratory issues for Barack Obama.
Yes, you got to meet Spider-Man.
Because he, other than the Ultimate Universe, but like in like the regular 616 or DCU, he was the first president that was actually like in the president in the comics and in the real world. They do analogous ones.
Captain America did Reagan.
No.
Frank Miller did Reagan.
Frank Miller kind of like
What?
But he did it. It was analogous. It wasn't actually Ronald Reagan, and
it just kind of looked like him.
It kind of looked like him, and they also did Nixon, kind of.
Yes, but they never said his name.
Yes, exactly.
Didn't Mark Wade have Captain America save Clinton and then salute him?
Probably. That sounds about right.
Maybe. But,
yeah, in the run with Ron Garney, that definitely happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have been right.
Kingpin
I
should have
mean,
been
Marvel
president.
was always-
You should have saluted him.
Oh, that's why it also didn't
That's
sell.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the first one did. This is the first run that we're with Garney. And it wasn't super heavy-handed. It was just Clinton was the president at the time, and he happened to they were after the nuclear football. The bad guys were after the nuclear football, and they went after Clinton, and then Captain America stops them, and then Clinton salutes him, and Captain America salutes back, as you would expect that he would salute the president, no matter who.
This is a loser's salute, Aaron. Don't do that shit again. It's pop. Your hand should be at a 90-degree angle. You
snap.
should be doing that.
Well, I was talking about Clinton, so I wasn't going to do it.
No,
This is my salute for Clinton.
this is Spaceballs, man.
This is the Monty Python, British. I don't know what's the sliding timeline in Marvel. So over on DC we have crises. We have constant. It's been in a cycle of rebooting.
Yeah.
Timeline for 40 years, but in Marvel we got sliding timeline. And what is that right now? It's 15 years, I believe.
I think it's actually up to about 17.
Really? Because
so Peter Parker would be
started at 15.
approximately 30.
Yeah.
All right, we're done making points. Perfect. You are right, fucking Baja Cat. Too much fucking realism. It's ruining comic books. Nerd. Reveal Peter was missing for years and that all the storylines were a nightmare. Shift 616 status quo. Use the dream stories of things he's trying to stop.
I wouldn't do a dream. Dream is too Bobby Ewing in the shower.
Sometimes that's the only. It's the only.
No, it's like I
option.
said. You just look.
What if Peter was in the fucking Matrix and really Scorpion had him all, and he was in an alternate reality, not saving the city for 2 weeks?
You
but it
gotta
felt like it
fix-
was 20 years.
You've got to fix more than Spider-Man, though. So
Yeah.
it can't just be Spider-Man. It has to be a cosmic level manipulation,
go.
like Jeff Johns did with Doomsday Clock before they decided that edgy death metal was the way to go instead of Doomsday Clock. How'd that work out?
Doomsday Clock was fantastic. Nerd then reveal that Paul was a sign the dream prison was breaking. Keep the good stories, but play them out differently. This bad
Yeah,
one's
you
real big
make
bad
him
stuff.
you make him a pervert beyonder that wanted to bang Mary Jane and rearranged reality to get what he wanted.
How about the Hadron Super Collider is breaking and we're getting our alternate realities shifted, and that's why nobody recognizes that he looks different every time.
The
Our
maker.
brains are being
And then
fried
at
by
the
the
end-
Hadron Super
At the
Collider.
end, he comes out with that Jerry curl.
Yes.
The coup de
And
grace on Paul.
a copy of the Berenstein Bears.
Yes. I'm good with all
What
of it.
did I'm starting to believe that Hadron Super Collider stuff, by the way. I'm
I am
starting to
too,
believe some of
because
that.
you can't convince me that I did not grow up with Ed McMahon hawking Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And him being on the envelope.
Yes.
Yes.
Except for
And they've already
apparently
disproven
it's-
the fruit of the loom thing. The thing about fruit of the loom going, we never had a cornucopia in our logo. Yes,
Yes,
you
they
did. You did.
I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They proved him wrong.
Yeah,
They
those
were
times
lying?
itch like
Yeah.
hell, man. Come on.
Yeah, they went back and they found there's there's logos out there that's like, yeah, here it is on an official product. They definitely had the cornucopia in there. Don't try to gaslight us.
People try to make
My
me think I'm
underpants
insane.
came over from the other universe on me.
HH, the fellas at Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team. See you at MegaCon. Pick up Unholy Nightmare near before Doomface and Here Comes Calico. Sigma Comics will be in Artist Alley. Well, very nice.
Yeah,
You gonna get a
boys.
corn dog
Sweet.
with HH?
Damn straight I am. I'll go hang out with HH. Love that dude.
I told you about the Devil's corn dog, right?
Do tell.
They had like a spicy corn dog here. They called it the
Oh,
Devil's corn dog. It was
Oh,
amazing.
thank God. I was going to go in a completely different direction.
I thought this was like.
I'm
I
like,
thought we weren't talking about Neil Gaiman today. What the fuck?
wait, we need to move this. We need to shift the stream over to OnlyFans.
Aaron, you wouldn't eat something called the Devil's corn dog?
I mean, if it was a spicy actual corn dog, sure, but like it
delicious.
depends on where it's offered. Am I in prison? Then no, I don't want it.
No. So you're gonna go have lunch with HH and the fellows again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man,
I
I'd be
I
grabbing
mean,
some
that was
dim sum.
one of my favorite things at New York was going over every day and hanging with HH for a little bit, going over and say hi, and I would trek all the way across from where our booth was over just to see HH.
What you should do is you should throw him a $5 and be like, "Hey, come sell my comic book for 2 minutes." That's a real $5 bill. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, and then it's like, and then I'm up 50,000 after that 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's a good investment. Tom King official. Can someone pay my therapy? I like dominatrixes.
No,
You have something in common with Doc.
that's why I
Congratulations.
don't buy your books, Tom.
I top, I don't bottom.
Oh, wow. God. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Baja Cat.
I think Tom can pay his own bills
That-
with how much he makes.
Baja Cat. I don't need a reboot or Peter and MJ back together. Just off Paul in a fantastically horrific manner, and I'll come back and buy Spider-Man again.
Oh, I would kill Paul in such a satisfying manner. I would take him apart atom by atom.
Would you bring him back from the blip and have him fall to his death because he was on a plane?
You trying to make me Dark Sparrow again? Is that what
Dark
we're doing?
Sparrow again? So what are we thinking? We thinking wood chipper? Is that enough for Paul? Does Peter need to kill him but not feel bad about it?
He can. Oh no! What you do is you reenact the Gwen Stacy situation, but whenever Paul's neck snaps, Peter's just like, "Oh, okay."
No,
and just
I know what
goes
you do.
about his day.
I know what you do. You completely disintegrate him, and then you do like Mark Waid kind of egotistically did, where he had his character, the Plutonian, dispersed throughout the universe, and then he became he recoalesced and became the inspiration for Siegel and Schuster to create Superman, which I thought was incredibly vain. But you do that, and his energy scatters across the universe, and then it coalesces again, and it becomes the
creates
Simpverse
diarrhea.
No, it becomes the Simpverse
Oh.
where all Tom King stories take place.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the very first piece of bacteria that caused diarrhea. This is why people have been having bad
Shitting
shits
themselves.
forever. Because
I
of
mean, that
Paul.
works too. Yeah, because Paul is the drizzling shits.
And it always ends up in Taco Bell.
Oh my goodness!
I'd have Jackpot do it. It was Jackpot's accident. She kills Paul by accident. Power
Listen,
and
I don't need-
responsibility.
I don't
And
eat
she
Taco
tells
Bell,
Peter
but if
it was an accident, and then goes like this to him.
Wink.
I didn't mean to
He
kill
breaks
him.
the fourth wall. This is the thing.
I didn't want him to
The
die.
Superman
Peter.
wink.
And then winks at him like.
I don't eat
Who's
Taco
Yoki?
Bell, but if it gives you diarrhea, then your bloodline is
Who's-
weak and history should forget
Who's
you.
Paul based on? Obviously, a self-insert. I'm assuming it's based on Zeb Wells.
Maybe Nick Lowe himself.
I'm betting
Maybe
it's
it's
based
Nick Lowe.
on Zeb Wells' girlfriend's boyfriend,
Maybe.
or we thought a long time ago, Sean King.
Oh, that's right. He looked like Talcum X there for a minute.
Yes,
too,
he
didn't
did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yep.
My money's on Zeb Wells, but I guess it could possibly Nick Lowe as well, because the character is still around, apparently. Federico de la Casa. Hi, Reagan was in Stern's Avengers run. Aaron, why not Paul was Mephisto that corrupted the universe that Franklin did in Secret Wars, and then restart there?
You have to absolve Mary Jane from having sex with the devil. You can't have that on her. Like, you
I
have
mean,
to
she
take that
already made a
out.
deal with him once,
You have to
so
retcon
now
that.
she bangs him.
Yeah, you have to completely retcon that. You
Does anyone
can't,
believe that Paul is actually getting laid in that universe?
Oh, that's why they go to therapy.
Not even
all the
his
time.
girlfriend would find him that attractive.
Dude, is that?
But he's
You almost
jacked.
have to make it so that it's not Mary Jane. You have to basically pod person her the way that they should have done with the X-Men to absolve them.
She's
of all
in the no
horrific
place in
crimes they did in
Krakoa,
Mhm.
buried with the real Cyclops.
Yeah, she
Yep.
got
When they
dragged there
stole
when
her
she,
body from the Hellfire Gala.
yes,
Remember that?
exactly.
Mhm.
Whenever Moira put
Was gonna
her
use her
arm
skin to
around
get
her
the-
neck.
Yeah.
It's like with the Phoenix
There we
Force
go.
recreating Jean to absolve Jean of all the Phoenix Force stuff. You know, it's like you have to do it, and then you
Nice.
never mention it again.
Yeah.
Rate X7, simple in story, way to fix in the Marvel universe. Alternate universes have bled into each other without anyone knowing and resulted in alternate versions of characters coming into the MCU, like Gay Iceman.
Yeah, like the
It's a
Hadron
Hadron
Collider. That's what we were.
Supercollider.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what it is. And then someone, Tony Stark gets to the bottom of it and realizes we haven't even been living these lives. We've been making 5 decisions at once.
That's right. All these
What
characters
is
that suddenly revealed new sexualities, they're all from the gayiverse, where everyone is gay. How is there any population at all? Don't know. They reproduce. They just split like amoeba.
Yeah. Asexual reproduction and heterosexuality is the aberration.
So if we used to have
you
on
do
Super
the
Collider,
cover. No, you do the cover that's like the Days of Future Past, but on the poster, everybody who's crossed out in the back says straight.
So Aaron, if we include the Hadron Super Collider, which I think is a great idea, are we incorporating too many real-world elements into a fictional universe? Have we broken our
No,
own
I think
rules?
that's good. That's just one small thing because we're not.
Or we
dragging
could
in a
call
bunch
it.
of-
We could call it the Pym Super Collider, and everyone will know what it is. But Hank Pym made it.
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
also, it explains why, because that came online in 2012.
Yeah, and Hank Pym never slapped his wife. He never beat his woman.
Well, no, this explains why post 2012 Marvel and DC both got fucking retarded.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the point of the
Because
whole thing.
obviously they were replaced by their versions from the retard verse.
Very nice. I think we're only going to get a chance to talk about should Marvel Comics reboot. Obviously, we've been talking about that for quite some time. Now, Dylan, you were more of a DC guy. You don't really dabble into Marvel all that much, although if you hear good buzz, you will be tempted by the forbidden fruit from time to time. Like you went over for House of X Powers at 10. If Marvel did an enormous reboot, would they be able to entice a more strictly DC writer to come over and maybe test their wares out with a fresh start and no history and continuity to jump into? Would that be a jumping on point for you?
Yes, because a lot of my favorite Marvel characters are in the dumps right now. Like Danny Rand, it guy's been shit on for like the past 15 years. So it'd be cool to have Iron Fist, the real Iron Fist, back. Frank Punisher is in a horrible way right now. It'd be cool to just ignore all the Jason Aaron stuff and bring him back. The X-Men have been for a long time now in a rough spot. So there's a lot of like my favorite Marvel characters I'm interested in that just there's nothing to read for them, nothing I care about right now. That if they rebooted or did like a Rebirth style reboot where they're like, we'll just retcon some things.
You don't want a crisis.
Not necessarily. Whatever you got to do, though. I don't really, at this point, I don't really care. It's like whatever you got to do, it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't, whatever stuff you got to do to make it make sense is fine by me. I don't really care as long as we get to a point where things are fun again and actually have stories I care about. But the problem is like, a lot of times with reboots is you got to have the talent to back it up. So having a reboot and then being like, here's the same creatives that have been here for the past 10 years.
Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing have a fresh perspective on Iron Fist.
Yeah, aren't you excited for this reboot?
awful.
Well, it's the same people that ruined everything. Why are they still here? So you got to have the talent to back it up. Otherwise, a reboot means nothing.
That is why Rebirth was so successful. You
Yep.
did have the big name talent. Obviously, you had your Jeff Johns, you had your Scott Snyders, people that were successful. You had some up and comers like your Williamson, you had your Tynan. Tom King was kind of making a name at that point. He hadn't quite become reviled Tom King, but there was talent there. And like the lower level talent is like Dan Abnett, who's a fucking good writer.
Yeah, exactly. You had people that you were excited about and people that you hadn't heard of that was like, oh, maybe they'll do something interesting here. It wasn't like, oh, I know that guy. He's written exclusively dog shit for 5 years now, which is a lot of
It sounds like you're describing Christopher Cant right well.
It's funny because I've never read anything of his, but anytime like a new book comes out and I see that, I think of you calling him Christopher Cant. I was like, oh, it's that guy. I'm not gonna read this.
In fairness, his Plastic Man No More is better than it has any right to be, but it's not particularly good. But it's not particularly awful either, and that's an enormous step up from his Iron Man run.
Progress.
So you're more of a Iron Fist, Punisher, X-Men guy than like traditional Avengers.
Yeah, I don't really care about the Avengers.
But you don't like Daredevil.
I like Daredevil a lot. I love Daredevil. I'm not
Okay,
reading the current run. I jumped off after Zarsky left. I haven't read the current run, so I have no idea if it's good.
17 issues in, same story as the very beginning. Him fighting the 7 deadly sins or whatever.
Is Ram V writing it?
That seems. I was about to say that's a problem
On
with
the
like, a
mid.
lot of people right now. A lot of writers have that problem.
Al Ewing?
So how did Iron Fist end up becoming your dude? Did you watch it on Netflix or something?
No, I read what Brubaker and
Oh,
his name
The
did,
fraction stuff.
yeah,
Brubaker,
Brubaker
Fraction.
and Fraction. Yes,
Those are
yeah,
good.
I
That
read
was good
that.
stuff.
I
yeah.
got that like collection, and it was freaking amazing. It's like, oh man, Iron Fist is so cool.
and
And
then
then
Dwayne
You didn't like-
Stick came on.
You
Yeah.
haven't been dreaming of moving to Japan and becoming a samurai your whole life or anything?
no, not my thing. And Larry Hama did horrible with them. It was like, actually,
That was
this freaking
awful.
Black Panther character, she's the one.
Okoye.
Danny Rand, yeah, he's got a Danny Rand. Well,
He gave her the Iron
Okay.
Fist, and then she's like, "Oh my goodness, you're so much better than I am with it. You should keep it,
Yeah.
even though he's
yep,
been Iron Fist for 40 years."
yep,
Oh, it sucked.
yeah, sad. Iron Fist
Larry
is so
Hama
cool.
is doing well on G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, though.
Yeah, just
What do you
don't
think,
understand
Sparrow?
this-
We've been talking about this reboot stuff. Do you think it's a soft reboot? Maybe you just remove a couple of ideas? Do you do a full Crisis like DC did? Or do you think
mean,
maybe the
you
Ultimate
built-
Universe is enough?
It actually requires something that Marvel's not good at anymore, which is long-term planning. What you do is you come on, you don't immediately shake things up. You just announce like, hey, we're going to be fixing the things that you don't like. And you start slowly peppering in things that are wrong, like characters realizing that things that are wrong in their regular titles. The first thing that has to happen for any of this, by the way, is you would have to have somebody come in and have absolute power over Marvel and fire CB Cebulski down through Tom Brevoort, down through most of the editors, and replace them. That's going to take a little bit of doing, because you're going to have people lined up to come in and take those jobs. You install a new editor in chief and you say, this is our directive. You have to show the fans that you're actively taking steps to fix all of the middle fingers that the company has been giving them for a long time. You say like, look, new leadership, new day. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give you what you want. So then you start, while that's all going on, while you're replacing people, you start having the writers put things in that are indicating something's wrong. And then you build to your big story where you kind of do a soft, not even a reboot, just a soft reset. You take characters back to basics and you do what Dawn of DC should have. And you kind of strip away everything about them everything that's been put on them that sucks. And you take them back to what made them work. And then you move forward. Once you do that storyline, you don't have to reference any of that past stuff ever again. You're moving forward from the new status quo, and you're only referencing the things that matter. You're only referencing the things that are still in canon. Because that pocket universe, everything that was, that was being manipulated by these cosmic beings, everything that, however you decide to do it, the Hadron Collider, all these other realities are purged, and you're just back to the Marvel 616, the Marvel 616 we all love.
Mhm.
None of this political bullshit. And then you move forward, and the people that you hire, you say, okay, you're a brand new freelancer, and we like your pitch. You start taking pitches again. No more of this, assistant editors. You're Sarah Brunstad deciding what a story is going to be, and then handing it off to a writer and saying, write my dumb idea.
Yeah.
No more of that. No more.
They
of
were
that.
lucky. They were lucky to get 1 month back in 1984. Those are the assistant editors.
And I know a lot of those lame assistant editors became editors, which is a worse crime. But
Mhm.
you can only have editors deciding on storylines if there has been a meeting and all of editorial is together and the editor-in-chief has approved. Yes, you can have a writer do that storyline.
Exactly.
And so you go back to having group editors.
Yes.
These are all the characters that are under this group editor. You want to use that character? Cool. He has to approve it because it has to be in line with what he's doing because he's in charge of that character. You go back to that. You go back to the way that things were when they worked, when Marvel continuity mattered. The big problem for Marvel and DC is what got people into comics, what fires men's imaginations is a shared universe and a lore. We love lore. That's why we love Lord of the Rings. That's why we get into things like Warhammer. These are things that men like. It's why men love, it's like, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? Quite a bit, actually. There's a lot of lore there. These are things that men are interested in. And you go back to that being your primary audience. Yes, you definitely have some comics that appeal to women, or you have characters that appeal to women. But the only women that I am interested in getting to read comics are women that have an interest in comics. I'm not looking to go, hey, do you like baking shows? Well, we're tailoring our comic. Yeah, we're tailoring our comics for people who like baking shows.
Have you ever farted in yoga class? Well, I have the comic for you, Starling. Harley Quinn.
The fartacular. Have you
Dude.
ever been in yoga class and someone else has farted and you
Oh
really
my
like it?
God,
You get really
yeah.
into it. Let's get Joanne Starrer to write a book for you.
I got what my solution would be is a lot like Aaron's, but okay, all you need to do is expand the Siege Paralist to have the Earth 616 pass through. Everybody on Earth gets a restart. You know what I mean? Just like,
Where they're supposed to
Second-
be, just like DC
Yeah.
Rebirth.
and some ideal state at an ideal age.
Exactly.
Everyone's back at the mansion. You know what I mean? Professor X is virtuous and he's got good ideas. He's
Did
got
Sully just come up with a fucking idea that's a cracker? Like, what
Yeah,
the hell just
yeah.
happened, Sully?
this is
Like fucking Will Ferrell what was that? Old School? Starts
you're my
giving
boy, Blue. I see Blue.
Like,
He's
I blacked out for a
glorious.
moment. What happened?
And then maybe finally people would say about Marvel, they have an excellent corporate structure and they really give you the tools to be your own boss.
Yeah, so it's like I mean, it's as simple as writing a good story, and there's so much luggage with continuity. It's a sword that cuts both ways. It's a double-bladed sword. Watch out for that thing because continuity is a great thing, but it also is such a burden. Every new writer needs to kind of be free to tell stories. We are.
You sound like you work
No,
for Marvel
no,
right
no,
now.
he went sus.
You're calling-
No, continuity
you're
matters.
Continuity matters, but we do. I mean, it's like we are the keepers of the continuity. Yes.
What's
we
the
accumulate-
river that fucking Julius Caesar crossed? That declared
The
war on Rome?
Rubicon, the
You
Charles
just
River,
You crossed the Rubicon.
the
fuck are you
Charles
doing?
River. No,
Sully, don't you give me this Simon Kinberg continuity as the Hobgoblin of Small Minds?
I'm not saying
Bullshit.
that, but I'm not saying that. I love continuity. I love things like the Old Earth 2 in the Bronze Age where I grew up. That was such a rich continuity. That was such a rich story. It was easy to follow. Likable characters. But it's
Why don't you just keep reading the Ultimate Universe? It's for small-minded people that can't keep up with continuity.
I want a
They
red
don't want to
band.
be.
Red band out of Dennis
Red
Camp. Extreme activism in my funny book.
I'd kind of create a creative council too within Marvel. So you'd have your editor in chief, but then I'd want to bring in like talented writers. I'd say like, hey, Jeremy Adams, Robert Venditti, you guys come in and we're gonna, Mark Miller, you guys come in and let's sit down and let's kind of like map out the next 2 years of what we're gonna do here with Marvel. And just the overview, and then we can take individual pitches and see how they fit in, and everything would be approved by the group editors. You would have to put in a brain trust that you actually could put your trust in, and
An
you have to have-
advisory, a bunch of advisors that come out and say, "Hey, these are our plans with Spider-Man. Do these?
you have
make
to have an
sense?"
editor in chief and a publisher who actively care A, about the characters, B, about the continuity, and C, about success. These are the three things that you have to be interested in. And hey, when someone comes in and they go, I'd like to make this character gay, I say, okay,
Why?
explain to me how that sells more copies. Explain to me how that is going to make that character more viable for us in the future. Oh, you can't? Then we're not doing it.
Well, you get Pride Month covers.
Yeah, I don't know that makes up for the complete ruination of a character like Tim Drake, who will never be a tier 1 character again.
Doc, can we make a Siege Perilous big enough for the entire Earth to pass through?
Yes. Ask Roma. She can do it.
Should that be the name of the
Absolutely.
story? Ask Roma?
I mean, you can just have Roma do it.
Hmm.
I don't know how you
Just put it in the Earth's orbit. You just pass right through that sumbitch. And next thing you know,
Yes.
nobody knows Wolverine's origin, including himself.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
And he's smoking a cigar again.
Yep.
Yeah. On a fucking.
And then he puts it out in Joe Quesada's eye.
Oh,
Sitting there on a fucking chopper,
Yeah.
just driving through America, saving people.
Yep. With a cowboy hat on.
Yeah, that'd be our relaunch. Our relaunch issue is just Wolverine, Nick Fury, and the Thing on a cover, drinking beers and smoking cigars, and
on
and
motorcycles.
saying, "Yep," and it'll say it's a brand new day.
Well, yeah, we could take back Brand New Day
Mm-hmm.
as instead of Spider-Man fans hating it.
Man, I think we just figured it out. Maybe they should do this reboot. Although, once you do a reboot, I must point out, and Dylan probably knows this just as well as I do, once you go down the reboot train, you just keep rebooting, which is what DC has done ever since Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well,
That's why this isn't a reboot. This is a reset.
Yeah. It literally just starts wiping out. That's why you could say, look, everything that happened, but everybody realizes that a lot of it was wrong. Now the universe, like the conditions in the world reset, but everyone remembers the events that happened. They aged. They don't, the diversity bingo characters on it, maybe they lose their powers because they never should have gotten them in the first place. If people's behaviors and personalities have changed, those reset, but their memory of experiencing that shit happened. This is the problem with the way that DC's done it, because it invalidated large sections of their continuity. This doesn't invalidate any of it. It just says this now, and you could do it the same way my Bobby Ewing stepping out of the fucking shower pre-Civil War idea works. You have large swaths of the population that liked the thing that was reset from. You have a lot of them that like coming back to a normal world. Kind of like, and it'd be a little bit of a meta commentary on the 12 psychos on Twitter hate that their shit is taken away from them, and they're going to fight to try to restore it. And a lot of people say, hey, I prefer going back to fucking sanity. And they're going to fight to keep it. You can end up with realignments in some heroes become villains become heroes, because they're now fighting towards a goal.
Maybe go back to a typical state of heroes and villains.
Yes.
That would be a nice basic start. Let's go back to basics.
Yes, where they don't, and where they're not all friends with one another. Like they lose everybody's phone number, and they lose knowing everybody else's secret identity that they didn't know be before a certain point. But all the shit that happened.
There you go. Let's hear from Mr. David.
You walk in first day, T-shirt that says, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money."
Mr. De La Casa says, editor's work is felt, not seen if it's done well. They should direct creators' creativity, not let them have free reign. Why not use editors like the Simonsons? I bet it's easier and cheaper to hire people right out of college or as interns.
Mm-hmm.
The Simonsons would have carte blanche if I was in charge of Marvel. Anything that they want to do, we're going to do it.
And honestly, it's cheaper to pay a nobody that wants to that's more interested in using cultural touchstones as activists. They don't want money.
Well,
they want the opportunity to influence shit.
But there's also been a sea change in the way that the corporate world views applicants and the people, whether or not they're eligible or even qualified for the job. Back in the day, it was all about experience, and you wanted your editors to have experience not only writing but obviously editing. And now it's like, do you have a degree in English? Well, that means you're qualified to be an editor, and it doesn't matter if you actually had a successful comic book and stuff like that. So I do think the way that they look at people's qualifications is much, much different these days.
Yeah, I've been looking at LinkedIn a lot lately. Like I will right-click a creator's name, and it'll bring me to their LinkedIn page. And then I say, oh, you graduated from college 3 years ago. Your head's probably stuffed with this academic postmodernism. And like, we need to change culture and we need to use everything as our platform. And I'm like, oh, great. Here's another one.
Yeah. Do you think Walt Simonson needed to learn how to write and draw comic books by going to college? I bet he didn't. I bet he just did it.
Walt Simonson also wanted to make product and make money. These people want to get in positions of influence. They don't really give a shit about money. Hey, were we surprised? Broke communists don't care about money. They care about power.
Don't know how to make it.
Yeah.
Very nice. We'll get one quick little thing in here before we wrap this bad boy up. And Aaron, I sent you something I'm going to need you to read here in the not too distant future. So what was the worst news this week? We had Concert of Champions, Dazzler, Lila Cheney, Spider-Gwen, all teaming up for a Jason Lowe comic book. Or is it Fire and Ice, Hell Freezes Over with Joanne Starer returning to the Fire and Ice stuff? What say you, Dylan? What do you think was the worst news? Was it Concert of Champions, Fire and Ice, Hell Freezes Over?
I don't really care about any of that, so none of that really affects me. My thing was the fact that also Sinestro is old as hell in the new DC movies.
God,
that's gonna be my worst.
Like
'cause that's something I care about. So yeah, Michael Chandler's
Mark
playing
Strong
Hal.
to that guy.
Yeah, is Michael Chandler's 59, so he's basically 60, and then the guy that's playing Sinestro is 61. So we got just some old ass dudes. They're gonna immediately parallax Hal and then get rid of him. And it's all gonna be about Jon Stewart. It's like you could have had both, man. You could have had both.
You could have had everything.
Yeah, and Sinestro's not gonna be around for long because in a blink of an eye he'll be 70. And...
It's gonna be the JoJo Mullen show any day now, and it hasn't even aired yet.
Downgrades in movie history. Mark Strong to that guy. Although I guess that's on television, but yeah, I'm with you, man. That was awful news.
Yeah.
Sully, what did you think was the worst news this week, buddy?
Oh, it's got to be Fire and Ice because just because I just like Joanne Starr.
Yeah, but Concert of Champions is going to be an annual event comic book.
Oh, okay. It's a tough sell because they're not made for me. This is the publishers treating the news like there actually is a newsstand anymore. It's like this. Condé Nast publishes like National Geographic or something, and like Power Tools, and then Elle magazine. So it's like this is like here's your Elle magazine, here's your Mademoiselle, your Cosmopolitan girl. Go, there you go, your market share. So it's like
you're sticking with Fire and Ice.
I'll stick with Fire and Ice though, yeah, just because I mean, like, oh boy, their powers are flipped. Yay! Hilarity ensues. Let's go back to Smallville. Let's go back to having the hair salon and telling like wine art humor. But hey, geez, maybe.
What do you think, Sparrow? What was your worst news?
I mean, I'm kind of like in the same mode as Dylan, where like neither of the book announcements affects me. It just makes me laugh at how pathetic and awful Marvel and DC have become.
Which one was more pathetic?
Dazzler. As awful as Joanne Starer is, she's ultimately on two characters that nobody really cares that much about anymore and don't really have a presence and are easily skippable. Whereas if you love the X-Men and you love the 90s X-Men and the Outback era X-Men like I did, and like I do, Dazzler's degradation is worse. But I think by far the Sinestro news is the absolute worst. Everything about this Green Lantern show sounds worse and worse and worse, and I'm looking forward to it falling flat on its face.
So first you had Tom King is one of the writers,
mm-hmm.
And then who's the other dude? The one that did Watchmen is the other writer, right?
Yeah, the guy did Watchmen.
Lindelof.
Yeah.
Lindelof is the other writer, and then we're getting a 61-year-old Hal Jordan. Now we're getting a 70-year-old Sinestro.
Yeah, so it's just
my comic book stiffy is going more and more flaccid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They better have a really hot Jessica Cruz. You know what I mean, to get that back.
I hope that Superman movie does well enough that WB is able to enact their plan of just selling off everything to somebody before that Green Lantern show comes out and ruins that plan.
All right, Doc, what's the worst news?
Oh, it's Dazzler. I mean, come on. Come on, this book. Okay, fine. Fire and Ice is bad, but they gave it what, like a year? They gave it a year between, a year and a half between. Dazzler literally just ended in absolute embarrassment for them, and they're immediately not only doing another story with the same fucking idiot writing. I can't wait to see what kind of ridiculous, shitty lyrics we're gonna get in this one. I mean, it's kind of like his debut album was garbage. Do you really think the follow-up's gonna be any fucking better? He already used his best material in whatever on all the terrible lyrics from the first one. No, it's gonna get so fucking much worse, like so much worse, and I'm here for it. I want to see like this.
We're reviewing it, Doc.
Oh, absolutely. The only way we're not, as we said, the only way that Fire and Ice would not be the worst of the week is if somehow Dazzler came out the same fucking week, because this is the shittiest comic in recorded history. I'm pretty sure that there has never been I've seen some US 1 was published by Marvel. That was a terrible comic. This was fucking worse. And the fact that it's just ending and they're already greenlighting more material from the same fucking retard.
Dazzler is one of the worst comics I've ever read, and I had to edit Draculangela. So if that doesn't tell you how bad.
All right, Sparrow, you ready?
Ready
you got
for
a
what?
Speaking role. I sent it to you. Remember,
where did you send it on X, or you put it in the private chat?
I sent it to you on the Twitters.
All right, let me see here.
Are you ready?
Okay, here we go.
Let's do it.
Special thanks to Blame Canada's Publishing for sponsoring today's live stream. Get ready for a game-changing comic experience as Blame Canada Publishing proudly presents Aftermath. What happens when ordinary people are suddenly gifted with extraordinary abilities? Hope rises, but so does chaos. From flight and mind reading to super strength, powers meant to uplift humanity instead reveal the dark truths of our desires. When reality becomes your worst nightmare, will anyone emerge unscathed? Created by Spencer Boykin, penned by Dolan Waddick, aka Drew, brought to life with stunning pencils by Andrew Lunatic, precise inks from Shelby Robertson, vibrant colors from Dan Kemp, and expertly edited by the one and only some jackass. Aftermath is more than a comic. It's a story about the price of power and its shocking consequences. The Aftermath Preview Edition is available now in limited quantities. Head over to Comic Kingdom Creative to snag your copy before it's gone. Links in the description. And that's not all. Meet Dolan, Aaron, and Spencer in person at MegaCon 2025, where the series will officially launch. Get your exclusive autographed copies and be part of the Aftermath phenomenon.
Boom! He nailed it.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, nice.
I nailed it.
Not
cold.
only does he do voices, he will sign your book as Aaron Psychopath at fucking MegaCon live in person.
That's right. Right underneath Andrew Lunatic, I'll write Aaron Psychopath.
I like that.
Very exciting stuff, and certainly a big hearty thank you to Blame Canada Publishing.
Yeah, that Alien homage cover looks great. I love that.
That was a fun idea. I think I don't know if that was Spencer's or if that was Drew's, but it was really, really fun.
I had that idea months ago, and I feel like Drew stole it from me. But
did you tell him about it, or did he just steal it out of your brain?
I think he just stole it out of my brain, maybe.
He does that.
But congratulations to Drew, and obviously congratulations to you, sir.
Yeah,
Another big project.
It feels weird to be like doing copy for my own, like, you know, like that's why I had to change my name to some jackass, because I was like, oh, I gotta be self-deprecating. I can't. Drew wrote me up like the one and only Aaron Sparrow. I'm like,
I actually rewrote the sizzle reel for Drew.
Oh, did you?
This was less exciting.
Yeah, no, you did a good job. I might have to, when I take over Marvel, I might have to hire you for our marketing department.
Well, thank you very much. And all very, very exciting stuff. And equally exciting are the good books that came out this week. We should talk about some comic book recommendations and what's going on. Dylan, are you recommending any books this week?
Yeah, I got a few books to recommend. We got Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger #2. We got Jimmy Palmiotti back writing westerns, so I'm enjoying it. having a good time with that.
Oh yeah,
so-
you love his Jonah Hex.
Yes, yeah, and so now he's writing the flashback book for Gunslinger Spawn. So it's pretty good. 2 issues in, I'm liking it. We got High Street #3. Ghost Machine's killing it. I enjoy High Street. I think it's fun. You got Ivan Reis just absolutely killing it on art. He's so good. It's been a
100%.
while since I've read an Ivan Reis book, so having him on here, he's so good. And Green Arrow #20. I'm liking Green Arrow more and more with each issue. I like what's going on there. This issue is pretty good. And then Superman #22. I like the current arc from Williamson, and of course Dan Mora is the best. So yeah, those are my
It
recommendations.
does feel like Oliver Queen is losing his mind, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I like that. I like that he's like. I also like that he's solo, because that's something that I didn't like about Williamson's run. Is you just the family was ever there. There was 1,800 members. It's like, I'm here. It's called Green Arrow. I'm here for Oliver. I like that he's like, hey, I need to go on my own thing. He like calls Black Canary, so they still talk, but it's like I'm on my own. I like that. I think a lot of books are.
She died in a cage like an animal, and they're like, she was a serial killer, dude.
Yeah,
It
so it's
doesn't
just
matter. She was driven to this. We're like, no, we got the murder weapon, and we actually have physical evidence tying her to the crime scene. She almost killed the police officer next to me.
You're the one
She
that stopped
didn't
her.
deserve this.
Yeah, but that's what you want from Ollie. You want Ollie to be like this bleeding heart that like takes everything too much. It's like, yeah, that's how you want Ollie to be. So I like it. I like that he's going overboard. I like how the cop reacts to it too. So yeah.
I didn't like when they're like, he has a point. They should be like, that dude is fucking nuts. Bar him from ever coming back.
Well, yeah, the other guy being like that. But I like her like when he's like, he's not wrong. She's like, he's not right either. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but he's definitely going over the line. It's definitely an interesting take there.
Yeah.
Anything else people need to know about with the Real Comic Book Gamer, whether it be YouTube, streaming, podcasts? I know you do everything.
Yeah, check out the podcast with my brother that we always do at the end of every year, going over our favorite movies of the year. So check that out if you're looking for some good movies.
What was your fourth favorite movie? What was number 4? Just a spoiler.
Fourth favorite. Give me 1 second while I pull that up because I have my list. Fourth favorite was Arcadian.
I never
Nick
even heard of
Cage's
that. I
in
thought
that
it was going to
movie.
be Alien Romulus.
No, that was 19th.
That's about right.
19th.
Aaron
out of
and I are
46.
going to talk about Alien Romulus on the Geek Fix this week.
We absolutely are.
There's some real strengths to that movie.
There are, and then there's some really good stuff, and then there's some like where they force
Real
awakened
weird
it.
stuff. Yes.
It's a wildly inconsistent movie.
Yes.
It looks really
But
good though. You can
it
see where the
does look
budget went,
great,
which is
doesn't it?
nice.
Yeah.
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 Very horror-ish, though. Thank you very much, Dylan. Definitely be checking out his podcast, Best Movies of the Year. Appreciate the perspective, dude. We've also got Sully, who might actually like some of the weird gay shit we were talking about. What are you recommended this week?
Recommending this week, I got some good words for what was it? It's Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon #1. That was fun. I love the cover. This is a Gary Frank A cover for this. Lots of wonderful hatchings, cross hatchings, great texture. It's like, you can smoke a bowl and get.
How was the
lost.
interiors? Because he didn't do the middle.
Right. The interiors were fine, and it was a fun story. I didn't mind the movie references. And that's, it was fun. That was it. Yeah, that's a big thing for me in a Marvel comic. Let it be fun, please. Like Blade 4 was terrible, but what's in the bag? I got these at my local comic book shop this week. On my pull list is Superman #22, written by Joshua Williamson with great art by Dan Mora. I'm so happy to have every issue of this run so far. I got the obligatory copy of Ultimate Spider-Man #13. It was fine, but I mean, it's a $4.99 book, and it is fine, good enough. But I really think at this stage of the game, this is Jonathan Hickman thinking he's David Chase, and this is his superhero Sopranos, a long form story, and I'm in for the ride so far. It hasn't soured me. I got Savage Dragon 275. It's a $9.99 100-page special. This thing is just up my alley. It is fun. It's ribald. It's gross. It's got a dirty mind
to it.
It's for degenerates like me. you know what I mean, who like jiggly girls and video games. So I'm a degenerate.
Well, they're not normally jiggly. They normally look like they're about 12.
Yeah,
I
Sully,
know.
you're gonna want to tone that way down when they eventually.
You know, I'm gonna
buy
say
his
that
house and raid his
Maxine's-
hard drive.
Maxine Dragon is a full-grown woman, all right, and she's very liberated. And
She's
but I
only
get
got
what you're saying.
braces and, you know,
And
preteen's body.
well, the rest of it's pretty good. It's like it's superhero. It's like it's parody, and it's really fun. And my pick of the week is GI Joe. Is it 313? I got the black and white variant cover just because I could. Great story, Destro versus Cobra Commander in a beatdown, and I mean, this is some really good fight scenes. And this is a really entertaining book.
Chris
I'm
Mooneyham
so glad.
knocks out the park.
He just knocks it out of the park. And I got something off the back wall. It caught my eye, and it was a little pricey. And I asked, "What's the grade on that?" He said it's an 8.0. And I was like, "Okay, yeah, all right." So I bought it for $35. This is Star Wars number 81. This is the one where Boba Fett frees himself from the Sarlacc, and he's unconscious. And the Jawas come by, thinking he's a droid to salvage. So he ends up, and then at the end of it, he ends up back in this, in the Sarlacc. But it's like, this is a really good issue of Star Wars. It's his Boba Fett's first Return of the Jedi appearance in the book, and his only. So there's that. Yeah. And thank you so much for having me on, Wes. What a great day to talk about funny books. And remember, kids, we're going to save comics by showing up to our local funny books bodegas, our local comic book shops. So spend your money there, get your supplies there, your bags, your boards, your boxes, and your new releases, and some back issues too. I mean,
Joe Duffy did when girls could write comic books.
Yeah, Run Friends on art, edited by Louis Simonson, or was this in the Innocenti days? But great stories. I mean, I had this, I bought this as a kid. I've been reunited with an old friend. Yay.
I still remember
Very
the Circle
nice.
K that I bought that issue at.
Dude, yeah, I was at the
Dude.
local my local comic book shop when I was 11 years old. It was called Superhero Universe. It was right in downtown Boston. It was across the street from where my grandfather worked, and he always gave me that Irish politician's handshake. It slipped me a 10, and I had to immediately go spend it at the comic book shop. Dude, yeah.
Beautiful. Sparrow, you got any books to recommend?
I like that Sully did a redemption arc. He's like, I bought Savage Dragon, and we're all like, ugh. And then he's like, and my book of the week is G.I. Joe. And we're like, all right, he turned it around.
Well, I remember he was also pushing that the continuity is just like this fucking albatross keeping
I
comics.
did
being
not
good
say
again.
that. You're gonna clip me, aren't you?
Jesus.
I
You
was
gotta get
almost
rid of this history.
I was almost ready to recommend Ultimate Spider-Man 13 because Major Sebastian Blood is apparently on the cover. But then I read it and I was like, I don't know. The Ultimate Spider-Man, it's way too slow for me. It's not doing it for me. So my recommendations this week are Void Rivals is out, and I'm going to back up Sully's recommendation of G.I. Joe 313. It's got a beautiful Adam Kubert cover. The story inside is fantastic. I always love it when Cobra Commander and Destro are at odds. I always think that's fun. It's a great book, firing on all cylinders. Chris Mooneyham's art is knocking it out of the park. I'm really enjoying this whole Serpentor Con thing, which if you had just pitched me that idea, I would have told you I hate it. But reading the story that Larry's laid out, I absolutely love it. It is so those are the only two books that I can really get excited about this week. Everything else is just kind of like I didn't see anything on the shelves that I wanted to pick up. Oh, I did pick up Hyde Street. I did pick up Hyde Street, but I haven't read it yet.
Hyde Street's very, very good. It's obviously come out a month late, but it's really good. Awesome Christmas special. All right, Dak, you got any comic books to recommend?
Well, we will be having a review up of Absolute Wonder Woman #4. And
I can't believe Dylan didn't recommend it. But...
I recommend that you watch our review when it gets published. I read it last night. We're going to be recording that tomorrow because we're running a little late on stuff today.
True.
But I definitely recommend that you check our review before you spend money on this. So, with that being said, last week I know I recommended the Majestic Superman crossover that they did in Adventures of Superman, Superman in Action Comics. I will recommend the follow-up miniseries. This has Superman and the Eradicator as guest stars throughout this whole entire four-issue miniseries. Obviously, the homage to the cover of Superman #1 for Majestic, and it's still got that dope Carl Kerschel art. This was when he was very much kind of aping Ed McGuinness's style, but it looks really freaking good. And then he ends up sticking around. Or no, he doesn't. Neil Googe takes over whenever they do. After this 4-issue miniseries, there is a Majestic ongoing series that's also really, really good. But I highly recommend that you go and find this. You can probably find it in the back issue bins, relatively cheap. It's a good, fun 4-issue story. That you get to see the playing off between Majestic and Superman as both, Majestic being an analog. And but it's really, really freaking good. And Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, back whenever they were working together all the time, and their work was exceptional. Then we will go with, since Marvel has announced that Chris Claremont has another project coming up. It's kind of a sequel to this. And so the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, I guess the new one's going to be Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. But I recommend that you go check out this original miniseries. It's really freaking good. It's a 6-issue miniseries back from the 80s during Marvel's, when they first started introducing all their miniseries. So I recommend you go check this out. Then we will go with another one from that miniseries era, but this because you get 6 issues of Art Adams' interior art. The Long Shot miniseries, really good. You got, First Appearance of Mojo, First Appearance Spiral, really fucking good, fun series. And go check this out. It's, again, another 6-issue series. And then, since we were talking about it earlier, and Dylan, I know you're an Iron Fist fan, so Marvel Premiere number 15 with that first appearance of Iron Fist. So I recommend you go and find one of these. It's a really good book. So there we go. Those are my recommendations for this week.
Very nice. I hope everyone has a fantastic week. We got a big weekend of football coming up. Things are heating up in the football world. We got some comic books coming next week. Should be fun. And I got a lot of videos I've already recorded. I'm working on the editing process and all that good stuff. And I hope everyone has a phenomenal weekend as I get to my chicken nuggets before I have to talk to Drew about the best books of the week. Have a good weekend, everybody. What's up?
Go kneel before Doomface on Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
There is a link in the video description. Go Bills. Get out of here, virtual reality fitness guy.
Get out.